is the Duffin' Up Podcast.
All right, Duff Daddies and Duff Moms, we have a very, very special guest for you this week. He is the man, the myth, the legend, the founder and producer of the Tea at High podcast. And not only that, but he is helping out foster children every week in Tennessee with the now. Sorry, Ryan. I got it wrong. I'm sorry. I was going to say now for you, but it's Now to You, Tennessee, a fantastic charity, being able to combine both his love of golf and his love of helping out foster children through many different areas. We do have on Ryan Murray. Ryan, how are you doing this evening?
I'm fantastic, guys. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you guys asking me to come on, and I am super excited to finally meet all four of you. I found out about you guys a little while back, and I started recently listening to some of your episodes, and it's a super big honor to be able to come on here. So, and you can edit this, or I can help you edit this, but it's actually New to You.
Even worse.
Do you have this written down and you still botched it?
That is.
If you want, I have nothing else to do. You can literally just end the recording, delete it, and start it all over again. I don't care.
You know what? This is what builds character. Me getting things wrong on the podcast. Oh, I don't know if you ever. So we have like an old joke one time where me, Tim, and Michael were talking about the Ryder Cup, and we were talking about Fred Couples, and I was like, I cannot believe that Fred Couples was one of the greatest players in the world and never made the Ryder Cup team. And Timmy was like, what do you mean he never made the Ryder Cup team? I was like, yeah, dude, like look on the Ryder Cup website. Like he's not listed as a Ryder Cup player ever. And we were like, oh my God, how did that happen? Then the next week we did the Ryder Cup review because he was one of the assistant captains. And I was like, oh yeah, hey, remember that time last week where I said Fred Couples never played in the Ryder Cup? He played in it 6 times.
I swear to God, you got to fact check this guy, Brennan Monroe over here. He's just sometimes just so passionate and into it and ready to fire. Sometimes he shoots himself in the foot. That's okay.
It's okay. I love it. Hey, if it makes you feel any better, I recorded an entire 2-hour conversation with a guy that owns his own coffee company in Utah and never got any of the audio.
Yeah, you've heard it. You hear stories like that.
That's just a phone call at that point.
It was. That's all it was. Look here.
We're also a big one take pod, Brennan. I thought you might be going there. We're a huge one take.
We are a huge one take. Everyone knows the rules.
Let it ride. Let it ride. No, but it's good to get the New to You charity correct. That is what made you, how long ago did you start that? What's the mission behind it? Give us the lowdown there. That's huge.
Yeah, thanks. So this is actually a thing that my wife and I both thought of. The mission, I'll start with that. We're trying to partner with organizations in Middle Tennessee around the Nashville area to provide basic daily necessities for foster kids and foster families in Tennessee. So you'd be surprised the types of things that they need: body lotion, sadly enough, diapers, baby oil, shampoo, Kleenex, toilet paper, just basic daily stuff that everybody else might take for granted. Toothbrushes, toothpaste. These are simple things. And then we can scale that, go into clothing, shoes, underwear, socks, all that kind of stuff. So that's our mission, is to help provide daily basic necessities like clothing, housing, food, to foster families in Tennessee. And the reason that we started it, for about the last 10 years, my wife and I, every single year at Christmas, we always sponsored a foster child for Christmas, and we would get a wish list of all their Christmas gifts that they wanted. And normally what they would ask you to do is buy 1 or 2 things on the list, but my wife and I would literally just get everything. We don't have any kids ourselves. We have 4 nephews. One of my sisters has 2 boys, and my wife, her sister, has 2 boys. So for us, it's a lot easier because, Christmas time, the only people that we really worry about buying gifts for anymore are our nephews, and it was always easy to do that. But 2.5 years ago, 2019, towards the end of the year, we were sitting in our kitchen, we're cooking dinner. And I just looked at my wife because we had literally just donated, like we had just dropped off all the Christmas gifts that we had bought for this child that year. And I looked at my wife and I said, honestly, honey, like we are in a position where we're fortunate enough that I feel like we should be able to help more than just one child one day a year. We need to do more. And she goes, I agree, but like, what are you thinking? And I said, let's just start a nonprofit. Let's start a charity. And she's like, well, I mean, that's a great idea, but like, what are we going to do with that? And I said, well, everybody knows of Goodwill. Everybody's heard of Goodwill, and most people have donated something to Goodwill. And I said, the bad part about Goodwill, though, is that it's a for-profit company, and they donate less than 1% of all their profit every single year to charitable organizations. So like 99 point, however many points you want to put on there of the money that Goodwill makes literally just goes into the pocket of the company. And so I said, instead of people donating their old clothes that they're trying to get rid of, or potentially like back to school supplies, right? Old iPads, you know, if they're donating desks, furniture, stuff like that, let's get those people to donate those clothing items to us. And then we'll redistribute all of that stuff to foster families in Tennessee, absolutely free, no charge. And it'll just help a ton of people out.
Wow.
Now I know why it's called new to you and not now to you. Okay, Brendan. Yep. Jesus, I can't believe I messed that one up so bad. But no, Ryan, that sounds amazing. And boy, we kind of learn something new every day on the podcast, I feel like. And that thing about Goodwill, I had no idea. I used to give stuff to Goodwill, but
and they're not. I want to make sure that I'm not trying to bash them, right? I'm not trying to like say anything nasty about them, but the charity that my wife and I support more than any other charity, obviously before we started our own, was St. Jude Children's Hospital. And the thing that we love about St. Jude is that literally 100% of every single dollar that gets donated to that organization goes like directly towards helping prevent childhood cancer research, curing children with cancer. And so when we decided that we wanted to go that route, we wanted to follow that exact same model. And we wanted to make sure that everybody knows 100% of everything that gets donated to us goes directly towards our mission. It goes directly to helping foster families. We have some grand ideas other than just donating clothes. We're hoping that within the next 5 years, we can set up a scholarship foundation to go with it so that when children turn 18 and they age out of the foster care system and they have no support and they have no family, and we can hand select qualified candidates, and we can pay for their college tuition if they want to go to college, or we can help pay for trade school tuition, so that it just gives these kids a chance to have like a leg up in society. And then the other thing that we're trying to do, my wife and I recently started real estate investing. And so we're going to try and leverage our real estate investing business eventually to use money that we raise to actually buy homes in Tennessee and donate them back to the state, so that DCS, instead of having to take children to an office building, which is where they take them now in order to place them in a foster home, they can go to an actual house with real bedrooms and real beds and real kitchens and bathrooms. These kids can have a more normal transition. They can have a bed to sleep in. Clothing that gets donated will literally load up all the closets in the house. And if the kids need extra clothing, they can grab whatever they need out of the closet and take it with them to the next house that they get placed in. And then hopefully we can have, luggage, suitcases, duffel bags, all those things donated to us as well, because the vast majority of children in the foster care system have to move their personal belongings from one place to another in a black trash bag.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, what you bring up about the St. Jude too, we see them a lot and on the PGA Tour, and we see a lot of everything going on there. And that is just such an admirable idea to get to, where you are donating literally 100% of all proceeds. That's absolutely amazing. And some of the ideas that you just had are, they're like groundbreaking to me. So Ryan, that is fantastic. And we are so happy that you were able to share that with us. And we definitely now know when we have charities that we want to obviously donate to, or we want to shout out, we now know that New to You for Tennessee. And that's something that, I'm not going to say that could go countrywide, but if you guys ever get to that stage and need to go countrywide, let us know, because that is something that is absolutely fantastic that you guys are doing.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And that is a very long-term goal, is to be able to expand this to other states throughout the country. 100% for sure. I'm excited. I can tell you guys, you're the first people that I'm going to tell, but we just partnered with, we just partnered with Topgolf in Nashville.
No way.
And on October 25th of this year, we're going to put on a 3-hour fundraising event where people can come in and they can play, and then all the money and all the proceeds that we get is all going to go towards the charity and towards helping us be able to execute on our plan.
That is awesome. Oh my God. Big
clip that.
Wow.
Timbo,
I feel like
we got 2 clips. We got me messing up at the beginning, and now we got unbelievable clip. October 25th. We're gonna look that. Oh my God, that sounds fantastic.
Cool.
But when you
mentioned at Topgolf in Tennessee, who knew? I mean,
yeah.
I've never been to Tennessee, but I feel like Topgolfs are hard for me to find. I feel like I got to go somewhere super tourist.
Well, they just don't believe in the East Coast. They just don't believe in
That's
us.
a good point. Yeah,
they're like it's too cold for you guys.
I know
you don't get one.
It's like it's a Disney World for us, because we have to go somewhere warm for them to exist. It's insane.
I actually learned something when we were talking to the representative at Topgolf to get all this organized. I don't want to say too much because I don't know how much of this they want out there, but I definitely learned that it's not as easy as just putting a Topgolf facility in a location. There is a astronomical amount of red tape that they have to deal with from cities and counties. And it could possibly be that there just isn't the permission.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. They've been trying to have one in Rhode Island where majority of us grew up, and it's like there's just like the city and the city that they're trying to have it. It's like going back and forth at the town hall meetings, and it's just fascinating to find the loopholes or like the laws that the city is using against Topgolf in order to use it. Like building ordinances, like the nets are taller than the height of the tallest building. And there's like little things like that where I'm like, that's awesome. That's a good lawyer. Like that's a cool, but I like hate it because I want a Topgolf, but I'm like, I love a good like a defense in that sense. I'm like, oh damn, never even thought of that. Like we just only it's cool, but yeah, that it's definitely, and we have limited room up here. I would say pretty congested.
Yeah, she was telling me. Then you go to Phoenix and they have like 2 or 3 different Topgolf locations just in Phoenix. There's one in like Scottsdale on the east side of town, and then there's one in Glendale on the west side of town. So it's like you don't have to go any more than like 20 or 30 minutes in any direction, and you're hitting the Topgolf.
They're just flexing on us at this point. It's just like you don't have any, we have 3 in 1 mile radius.
Yeah, the one in Scottsdale I've been to, and it's right next to one of the casinos as well. So it's just like, all right, like we're done hitting balls. Like let's head on over and lose a bunch more money. So they've got that down in Arizona. They know exactly what to do.
Yeah, and that one in Scottsdale, I grew up in Scottsdale. Like that's where I'm from originally. And one of the best golf courses that you can go play in Arizona is the Talking Stick Golf course, which is like right on the other side of that casino.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm sure you could talk about how much Scottsdale has changed just in the past like 10 years. Never mind like the past like 30.
What course did you play, Brendan, when you were there? I see Brian's played there.
Yeah, we played oh God, so we only played one. It was out in Mesa, and it was Painted Mountain. So I'm not sure if you've heard of it. But it was,
I've heard of it, but I've never played it.
It's a typical public, like, it was a 5.5 hour round. But it was fun. We had a good time. We had like a mix of like, so like, I'm like, okay, not great. And then my buddy who was getting married is good. And then like, so we had like a good mix of like good guys and then guys who like never play at all. So it's like for that course was perfect. But he and his brother played the stadium course like 2 days before. So that was like, for him, that was like, okay, I'll pay $5. Like he didn't pay for it. His brother paid for it, but it's like, you guys play the $500 round place, and then we'll all play the $75 a place, and we'll play a scramble, and it will be fun as hell.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the first golf course that I got to play at after my back surgery from last year. I played, it was January of this year. I got to play TPC Scottsdale, the stadium course, but I played it 3 weeks before the WMO Phoenix Open. So they had all the grandstands up and they had the Coliseum built for the 16th.
I feel like that's significantly better to have the grandstands up without them.
Oh yeah, for sure. Cause I played that course, like growing up in Arizona, I've played that course a handful of times. And this was the first time that I actually got to play it with all the grandstands up. And it was a bucket list round of golf for sure. And it was last minute. Like it wasn't supposed to happen. I didn't even plan for it, but my flight home on Thursday night got canceled. And so I just rebooked myself a flight home on Friday, like super late at night. And then I woke up early Friday morning and I went and played around out there.
Hell yeah.
Got to walk the course. They give you like a 4 caddy. So there's like 4 of us. We're walking the course. You get a caddy with you the whole time, reading your putts, telling you like, you know, where to hit and certain shots. And it's just really cool, man. It gives you like a whole nother perspective when you get to watch these golf tournaments on TV after you had a chance to walk the course and hit some of those shots and play some of those tee boxes and putt on those greens. And you get a way better understanding of what these guys are dealing with on a Thursday through Sunday out there. And we think my buddies and my closest friends in Arizona and we've been saying this for a super long time. We think the number one thing that TPC Scottsdale should do that would make that golf course even more fun to play throughout the year is put a button on the tee box at 16 so that when you walk up and you're getting ready to hit your shot, you can hit a button and it is literally all the pumped in crowd noise from a Saturday round at TPC during the WM. And you can hear all of the people screaming at you. And then when you hit your shot, like if there's a ball tracer on it, if it lands on the green, it'll cheer. You'll hear the cheers. And if it lands off the green, you'll hear everybody booing you. Like that would be insane.
That would be dope.
Sounds very easily done. Like they could easily do that. We have all the technology for that. And
you'd think
that would be hype. I'd pay an extra $50 for that.
Right? I mean, they charge
100%.
an extra $20 for a Finn scooter. I'd pay an extra $100 to have that experience.
Yeah,
it would be going off. It'd be going off all day.
Yeah, when you're walking down with the hole in one, when you.
Yeah. You'd hear it on one. It'd be going off all day. It's just
you know what you're getting into though. You know what you're getting into when you play that. That's unbelievable. So have you Ryan, have you been able to, like, I'm sure you have, but like have you been able to attend the tournament as well?
Yeah, I've been a couple of times.
Oh, wow. Mike has been once.
Yeah.
Tim and Brian, you guys have never been, right?
No.
It's unbelievable to see the action going on 17. My buddy's dad was on his son's bachelor trip, and he paid a volunteer off to have us jump a fence and walk and sit up there on 16. We were on very minimal hours of sleep, and it was just an absolute riot. But what was the best was this year, like, just everybody getting drenched with who knows what, like ketchup, water, beer. Like that place goes nuts. It's like a hockey hat trick. It's, you never see it. It's great to see.
And this year was the craziest because Joel Damon on 16, that day where Joel Damon like took his shirt off and was like flipping it around. And like it gets so wild out there, man. And this is also the first year that I've ever really watched guys throw beers out on 16 like that. Most of the time nobody does that.
That's new.
It got hectic this year.
I liked it for the holes in one, but like once people started throwing them for like, I don't know, like a 10-foot close to the hole, I was like, maybe we don't do that part. But like, I mean, when they did it for Sam Ryder's hole in one, like that was so cool. Like I was like, that was. And, I felt bad. You obviously feel bad for all of the volunteers. You could all see them just immediately like run into the, like as soon as it went in, they all like ran into their corners and were like, just like going like this.
I could see them next year having riot shields. All the volunteers are going to definitely, because that tradition's not going to stop now. I feel like that's going to be automatic.
No.
Ponchos. Well, and it's been a tradition there, but it's just been that long since somebody has hit a hole in one on that hole that you haven't really seen it. I think one of the coolest things, and I did a TikTok video about this earlier in the year, but one of the coolest things when you get to play that course and they have the Coliseum built, when you walk off the green on 15, you have to walk over a little bridge, because most people don't know this, and I don't know why they don't talk about this more. But the 15th hole at the stadium course is a long par 5. That green is legit an island green, and it doesn't get any attention for being an island green. 100% of that whole green is completely surrounded by water. So you have to like walk over this bridge to get over the water. And then you have to walk through this like 50-foot long tunnel that goes under the grandstands to pop out and walk around the tee boxes. And you've got the Coliseum around you. But the first thing that you see when you come out of that tunnel is this massive plaque that's right there. And it lists every single player that's hit a hole in one during the Waste Management. And so now like a couple guys are going to get their names added to that.
That's sick. What do you think about kind of, I know we're going to talk about other things, but now I'm really interested in your thoughts on this. I've noticed the past 3 years, the Coliseum used to be, maybe in the past 5 years, it used to be like mostly grandstands to now, you know, it went from mostly grandstands and a couple of corporate suites to now honestly mostly corporate suites, and then there's like the little area for the grandstand.
Yeah, the place looks like Yankee Stadium out there.
I want to be like, can we just go back to the happy medium of the two? Because this year it was literally just like all of these corporate suites, which is great, like very happy. PGA Tour, make your money. That's 100% okay with me. They give a lot of it to charity, stuff like, you know, yada, yada, yada. But like, I want to see the idiot Arizona and Arizona State college kids going nuts. Like, that's the whole point of it. Like, this is just like, I don't want the corporate atmosphere at that hole. I want the kids going crazy.
I don't disagree with you. I think that some of that is noise reduction. If you notice, when you're standing on the tee box looking at the green, the majority of what you're talking about of additional suite coverage is on that left side of the hole. Yeah. And I think that they put that there to kind of dampen some of the noise for the guys putting on 15 right next door.
Oh, that makes sense.
The other thing too is the last, I'm going to say at least the last 5 years, you might even be able to stretch it back further. Somebody can fact check me. That's fine. But the television broadcast has been putting their desk for all their broadcasters right there on the left side of 16. It's like if you were standing on the front edge of the green and you like looked over to those corporate suites on the left, that's where the TV broadcast booth is, where they have the studio for these guys to do their live broadcast coverage. And they needed a ton of space to be able to make that happen, to kind of keep people away from like jumping on the set and stuff like that. So, and then, you know, the last thing, I'm not going to lie, bro, they just make a ridiculous amount of money with those tickets. Like
they really do.
To get one of those skyboxes for a weekend at WM, some of those are over $100,000.
Yeah, I know at the RBC Heritage, my fifth major, down in Hilton Head, Boeing has theirs on 18, and I think it's $2 million, like on the 18th. So I can imagine like $100,000 probably gets you like a 3x5 little note card on the 16th hole. Yeah. I can imagine how big some of those get. Like it's insane.
But you also have to think too, like how rowdy those people get at 16. Most of the bars in Arizona, they don't shut down till 2 a.m. A lot of people will start waiting in line on Saturday morning for that round to get into that Coliseum at 4 a.m. So there's some people, I guarantee you, there's some people inside that Coliseum at 5 o'clock at night on a Saturday that were up the night before, shutting bars down, walking over to the WM, because it's literally like a mile walk from some of these bars, just walking over there, waiting in line for them to open the ropes at like 6 or 7 in the morning, and then sprinting to get to the 16th to get their seats. And they don't leave until the end of the day. And they're just drinking from like the day before until those guys come and hit a hole in one.
How are they alive?
That's, you don't have to fact check that. That's definitely true. That is 100%.
Mike's like, I was one of them.
we didn't do that, but you have to get in that line at an ungodly hour. And yeah, it's a party town. So.
But it is, I know we're like kind of talking about just like on the topic, playing a course that you've playing a course that you watch on TV all the time. And I think that's the coolest. That's a cool feeling, like knowing the holes and having experience on the holes. I mean, Tim and I, for the most part, the only like course that we've played that's been on TV is in Portugal for the Portugal Masters,
Nice.
which was really cool, and that was kind of just by accident. We like played it, and now we're big fans of the Portugal Masters. Like we're like we never really
is the Portugal Masters played at the same place every year?
Yeah.
What's the course called?
It's the
Victoria course.
Yeah, Victoria course. And I mean, it was cool. And like the only reason why we watch is be like, okay, I put it in the water on this one. I definitely went OB on this one. Like it's just knowing the difficulty. And we were even playing, obviously not playing from the tips, but just playing that and being like, oh, okay, like I remember this. And I'm a big visual person where it's like you see a hole on TV, and if you've never been there, then it's you don't expect it to look the way that it looks. But when you've played, especially if you've played it, like it's one thing to go and watch a tournament on TV, but when you've actually played it, you've come up close and personal with a daunting tee shot or a daunting approach or one of the worst putts you've ever had, and you're like, I feel like I became really intimate with this hole, for better for worse, and you really freaking hate that hole or you really freaking love that hole. Like it's a cool feeling. I know Brendan has played at TPC Boston a whole lot.
RBC, you can't forget the RBC.
I was gonna say I've played more at
but
than I have at
you
TPC
talk about
Boston.
that enough. Yeah, you talk about that enough. We don't need to hear about
we don't
the
need
RBC.
we don't need to talk.
I love that.
Uh-oh, Brian. Uh-oh. Someone's a little sassy down there today.
It's like you're sponsored by him. You always got to plug it. But I want to talk about Beantown, your home in native land here.
Yeah,
That's true.
Harbor Town, though. Kids got a hard on for Harbor Town.
Who doesn't?
Hey, that's an iconic golf course.
Thank you. It's one of the only golf courses that ever was in every single Tiger Woods PGA Tour game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Yes.
Yep.
He paints his pecker with red and white.
I sure do. I sure don't have to paint that much, boys. That's just kind of the color I come in.
Yeah,
but anyway.
That's the color that you come in. That's it. Oh, that might be scary.
Wow, I love a double entendre.
Mine's about to hang up. It's like, all right, guys, I've had enough.
But that lighthouse is epic. That lighthouse, it is epic.
Yeah.
Yeah. All respect.
Is that the aiming point off that tee, Brendan? That lighthouse, you just pick it out and hit at it?
Yeah, but you know me, I have a lefty slice, so I go like a little bit farther to the right of the lighthouse, and I always end up pulling it on that hole because I'm like, oh, I'll just hit my normal slice, and we end up in someone's front yard and chip it right out, and we keep going. That's all that matters.
So here's a question for all of you guys, and I need all of you to answer this. If you got a chance to play on a golf course, let's say you're playing Pebble Beach.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Everybody's watched Pebble Beach, right? On TV. You're on 18. You hit your tee shot. It's in the fairway, so you don't have to worry about being in the ocean.
Behind the tree in the middle of the fairway or ahead of it? Did you launch it?
It's just however far that you can hit your tee shot, right? Because everybody's different, right?
It's in my way.
Yeah. Are you going for the green in 2, or are you playing it safe to hit a good score?
No, on those ones you got it. Like that's a once in a lifetime. You can't. I mean, so for me, I'm probably dropping a ball because it's probably going into the water because I'm going for it. But like I'm going for it, and then I'm like, this is worth a $3 Pro V1. Like I'm good. Or like
where are you getting Pro V1s for $3? I need to get them from your supplier. Holy shit.
Well, they're like $40 for 12. Yeah, they're probably like $4 or $5 a hole. $4 or $5 a Pro V, right? Like they're around there. So yeah.
Ryan, I know we got to talk about tee it high. I feel like we have, but if you tee it forward on 18 and I'm within 250, 260, if it's 270, maybe I hit driver off the deck. I mean, what's my score? If I'm trying to make par, I'm probably just going to play it safe. But if my score is a shit show, if it's within 250, I'm going for it. But
I like it. What about Tim and Brian?
So I have been trying to work on my course management and play smart. And that's never how. No, so hear me out here. So I've been trying
hold my
to work on
purse.
that.
Hold my purse.
Yeah, right, exactly. So I'm definitely gonna stop doing that because that's not how I've ever played before in my life. And I've been like bogeying, like I've been playing bogey golf, and it's because I've been taking that extra like smart shot, and it's really biting me in the ass. And I'm never gonna break 80 at this point if I'm just like punching it and playing like the laying up kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm going for the green. Yeah, because I'm at Pebble Beach and I gotta break this bogey golf trend that I've been doing lately. It's annoying.
All right, Tim, your last one up.
For me, kind of what Brian was talking about with the watching a course on TV and also playing the Pebble Beach on the video game. I've seen players, we played as players on the video game, going for it into. I may only get to play Pebble Beach once in my lifetime. And I want to look back and say, I went for the green. If I make the green, it's one of the greatest shots I'll ever hit. And then if I don't make the green, I guess I'll be able to sleep at night knowing I went for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like to go for it. But within striking, just like, like three.
Yeah.
Even if I'm 300 yards out, I'm still going to hit a 3-wood. So, yeah, I guess I'm going for it. We're going for the green.
You can even drive her off the deck at that point, Tim.
Ignoring any of the advice from the caddy that they assigned to me because I know he's going to tell me to lay up.
100% ignoring it.
Yeah.
Ryan, are you going for it?
I'm cheating. I'm gonna tell everybody that I'm playing with that I'm gonna hit the safe shot for my score first, and then I'm gonna drop a second ball and I'm gonna go for it with my second ball, so I can keep my score intact but still say I went for it. And then
the polar opposite of me is you're playing it safe, and then you go, I'm going for it, and when it hits the water, then I'm playing it safe.
But if my second shot lands on the green, that's the ball that I'm playing for.
I love it. Your own one-man scramble.
He's cheating. He said he admitted it. He said he was cheating.
All-time pumpkin eater moment right there on the podcast. That's
I'll put an asterisk on that scorecard all day long.
Yeah. You don't even need to. That's the right way to do it.
Just take it.
It's tough when you hole out though. If you hold out, then what do you say?
If you hole out, you gotta admit.
You take it.
I still hit the shot.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe I go for the green on the first shot, and if it works out, then I don't have to hit the second one. But if it doesn't work out, then I can take the second one, and that's the one I go with for my score.
I'm in on that.
Bingo.
I like it.
I mean, if you're paying $550 for a round of golf, I'm taking advantage of every second and every opportunity on that golf course.
Plus staying at the resort, because I think they still have that rule where you have to be a resort guest to play there, which is nuts.
You don't have to be. You just it saves you $100 on your tee time. So if you don't stay at the resort, it's $550 around during like their normal prime hours, and if you stay at the resort, it's only $450.
Have you played?
I haven't, but so I was telling you guys earlier that I got that beer koozie in Alaska. The year that my wife and I went to Alaska, we went on an Alaskan cruise with her entire family. 2 weeks before we made the decision to go on the Alaska cruise, we were literally typing in our credit card info to book the Pebble Beach trip, and we were going to spend 2 weeks in California. I was going to play all 3 courses at Pebble Beach. We were going to stay there for like 4 days, and then we were going to go to San Francisco, and then we were going to go to Napa, and we were going to have like a 2-week vacation that year. And 2 weeks before, I was getting ready to book the flights, and I was getting ready to book the hotel, so I had already priced everything out. No, my mother-in-law called us, and she said, "Hey, do you guys want to go on a trip to Alaska? It's the whole family. It's going to be me, my brother-in-law, his girlfriend, my wife, my sister-in-law, one of her kids." And we were like, I mean, we can't say no.
Your hands are tied for sure.
Yeah, we went.
You could have said no.
Yeah, so we went on a 2-week vacation to Alaska. We did an Alaskan cruise, and we spent like an extra 3 or 4 days on land out there too. So it worked out. It was a really cool trip. But that's a bucket list trip that I have like tucked away in my back pocket that I'm going to pull out one of these years soon.
Are you?
What
you hitting that?
Oh,
sorry. No, I was just going to ask quickly. Are you hitting a cut into 18 or a draw? Like, is it going over the water to start?
Yeah, pretty much everything I hit is a cut or a fade. So like my tee shot on that hole, I'm aiming over the ocean and I'm bringing it back in. And then my second shot into the green, I'm aiming probably at the left edge of that greenside bunker, or I'm aiming over the water and bringing it back in.
Jeez. I'm aiming right, and if I hit a cut, it's going way right.
Yeah.
I'm avoiding water, and I'm trying to stay dry at all with all costs. So, yeah, that's it. I was just gonna ask, if any, have you played any other courses outside of the TPC Scottsdale that the tour goes to regularly, or has played any other good courses?
Off the top of my head, the only one that's popping up is the one in the Dominican Republic. The PGA Tour goes out there and they play at Punta Espada every single year in Punta Cana. And I played that course twice. We went there on vacation one year and I played it 2 days in a row, one round each day, 2 days in a row. And cool. To this day, it's still the most beautiful golf course I've ever seen in my entire life in person.
Is that the Tony Finau course where he's won twice?
No.
That's the Puerto Rico. That's the Puerto Rico.
That's the Puerto
Rico. That's the one with the curse. Yeah.
That's Although they broke it now. Tony broke it, and Victor. Well, no, I don't think Victor.
Yeah.
No, he did break it. Hovland broke it last year, right? When he won in Mexico or something like that. I don't know. The curse doesn't exist anymore. That's all I know. Tony's doing great, guys.
It's the course. It's the course that I think 2021 Joel Damon got his first PGA Tour win there.
Okay.
But it's a Jack Nicklaus designed golf course. 8 of the 18 holes play right along the Caribbean. They're like on the water. The signature hole there is a par 3. If you play from the tips, I think it plays 230, 240 yards, and you have to hit it over the ocean. There's like a cove that you have to hit your tee shot over to get to the green. The first day, sorry, hang on one second.
Looks like we know where we're going, guys, for our next trip.
Yeah.
Wow.
Speaking of that, Mike, I just thought of it. I guess the other course that Mike, Tim, and I just recently played was Disney Palms. That's it was played by tour members and such during the Disney Classic. So that's 2. But
I get to go play Sawgrass next year, so I'm excited about that.
Oh, I can't wait for those TikToks.
I was it was total chance. I had a guest on my podcast, Luke Letty. He's a professional caddy. He's up in DC right now. And in a couple months, he's transitioning down to Florida and he's going to be caddying at Sawgrass. And during our podcast episode, he invited me to come down and play golf with him at Sawgrass. And I was like,
oh, it's sick.
That's hysterical. No? I was listening to that pod today, but I hadn't made that part. That was a spoiler for me.
Who says?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I can try and make it. Let me check my schedule here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You drop everything. I'll go to
quit your job. You quit your job at that point just to do that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's cool.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Ryan. So I got a question for you. And I hope no one ever asks this, and you're not allowed to ask us. But say someone comes up to you, and it's going to be a tough one. Say someone who has never listened to your podcast before, someone random off the street, they say, oh, you got a podcast? What's it about? Golf. And they say, Ryan, if you were to pick one podcast for someone who's never listened to you before to go back and listen to, which episode would you pick? Which interview? Which episode? What is, what engulfs what's the best podcast that'll give me a general overview or give that person the greatest experience, or your favorite podcast that you want people to listen to?
All right, can I give you more than one answer?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay,
in order.
All right, so
we'll do a top 3. I like
Perfect.
The top 3s.
Perfect, because that's exactly where my brain was going.
Perfect. Awesome.
The number one very first episode that I would tell people to go listen to, unfortunately has not come out yet.
Oh, that's like Tom Brady. My favorite one is the next one.
Yeah.
He's tickling.
He's tickling our willies, Timmy. Jeez.
Wow.
So
your Hilton Head lighthouse is shining.
Yeah, the waves are crashing at Pebble Beach right now. Yeah, so I was extremely fortunate enough that a couple of days ago I got to interview Korn Ferry Tour player James Nicklaus. And that episode airs next Wednesday. So August 3rd, that episode comes out. And honestly, I feel like that's one of the better interviews that I've done with somebody. It's also like a really smooth, natural conversation. And it's, you get to learn a little bit more about a professional golfer on the Korn Ferry Tour than you would see on like an ESPN interview. I feel like
we'll be listening to that.
Yep, August 3rd.
I mean, James
August 3rd.
has that unbelievable story about him, you know, the clubs I'm sure you guys go into it, but the club's getting lost, him showing up literally a minute before his tee time to check in. Yeah. Like that's, I can't wait. I'm sure you guys go in depth into that, but that's going to be sick. That's awesome.
To be just spoiler alert. No, I barely talk about it.
No, that's okay. Honestly,
I did it on purpose. I wanted to be able to showcase some of the other things that he's interested in. So I think you'll actually find it kind of interesting to hear about some of the things that we talk about.
Honestly, that's cool. Refreshing. Yeah. I actually, good job, Brian. I was not expecting that. I was expecting, like, you know what I mean? Because you always hear that, like, when someone has, like, they're, like, kind of tipping, they're going off point. Like, everyone always wants to talk about that and kind of just that. And the fact that you kind of went in more along the lines of, I'm sure, like, his travel schedule, which is probably a nightmare.
Benny, just wait for the episode, bro. You gotta wait.
All right, I'll wait. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of asking the same questions that everybody else asks. And also, all of that went down in May of this year, and now it's the end of July. And so, like, the moment had kind of passed. It's like almost beating a dead horse at this point, in my opinion. So we touched on it, but we didn't talk very much about it. So that would be, like, to answer your question, Tim, that's the number one.
That's one. Yeah, that's only one. We got two more.
Yeah. I think number two would be the interview that I had with Haley Buchholz. And the reason for that is I really want to try to use my platform to shine a bigger light on women in golf. And it was incredible to be able to talk to a D1 golfer. She plays professionally and like an amateur status right now. And to be able to just kind of like learn more about her. Also a little teaser, she's coming back on for a second episode, and I think that one's gonna be pretty fire also.
Cool.
And then number three, you guys got to go back and listen to Welcome to the Circus.
I
love the first one.
Yeah, that's the first one that I did as a golf podcast, and that's with my buddy Zach. And a little BTS, a little behind the scenes. My wife was feeding us old fashions for like 4 hours that day. So we were absolutely obliterated drunk when we did that episode. So
I love listening. I can't wait to listen to all three of those. Listening to players talk about, like, golfers. I don't know. I just love listening to those interviews. So that's exciting stuff.
Yeah, my man, I'm not going to say too much, but he's an impressive individual. Let me just put it to you that way. It's the first interview that I've done where I was legitimately nervous going into it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
No, but it is fascinating. I mean, I was listening, like I said, I only made it halfway through your episode, the caddy episode, and it's just interesting to hear the ins and the outs and like the caddy network, how people like the career path to want and their goals to want to become a professional caddy. I think all the four of us here on the Duff and Up pod have caddied at one point, but it was either for a buddy. Brendan caddied for Mike, and like I did it for Mike too as well. But Tim and I had done it at our local country club, and that was just a summer gig. And I quit after the first time because I lost the guy's head cover, and he was a real dick to me. So
wow.
I was like, I'm good on that. Just waking up, the possibility of having to wake up and get there for 5 a.m. with the possibility of not getting out at all and wasting your whole day. That turned me down. But that was also before I like really was in love with the game. I mean, like if I was even close to the level of obsessed I am with golf right now, I think I would have done it even longer, if not considered it as a long-term thing.
Ryan, I was going to interject. Is it too late, Ryan, to, if I wanted to caddy for Jordan Spieth, the next Jordan Spieth, I'm 30.
You have to be. It was a high school teacher. What was Greller?
I was about to say, Michael Greller's about to throw hands with you if you want to caddy for Jordan Spieth.
But no, I agree. It's not too late. But
have you seen how old Fluff McGowan is?
Right. I know.
You want to talk about a legend?
Yeah.
One of the biggest legends in New England golf might be Fluff McGowan because he's from Maine. We love him. He literally just like I tell the story all the time. So he. Again, sorry, Brian, to burst your bubble, but we're going back to the RBC heritage here.
Well, I knew it.
No shit.
No bubble bursted, but regurgitated.
Yes. So Jim Furyk is sponsor. His main sponsor is RBC, so he comes every year, and Fluff comes every year, and literally just like this year, it was like its first time like really back, because like they had the 2021 tournament, and some people were there, and they had the 2020 tournament, and no one, like the police like would not allow you near the golf course like during the COVID one. It was nuts. But 2021 tournament was cool. There was like 40% capacity. And then this past April, it was back. And so Fluff's just coming up to the tee on the 10th hole. And he's got like a little, like Furyk has like a smaller bag now. Like he's got like bag that like I would use, not like a Stitch bag, but like, you know, it's not a huge bag. It's like a little Callaway bag. And he's coming up and he puts the bag down and he gives Furyk a driver. Furyk takes the driver. Fluff puts the legs out and he takes out a Marlboro Red and just lights it up, puts the bag back on and just starts waltzing down the fairway. I'm like, this is what I think of. Like Fluff is just Caddyshack in real life. Like I feel like he's just amazing at his job, but he just became a guy who followed around the Grateful Dead and somehow became a caddy. Like it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Before we go to the next topic, I want to just take advantage of like kind of the moment too.
Yeah.
Tim, one more thing I want to say in response to Tim's question too. I have to thank Morgan Egloff from the bottom of my heart, because I'm the type of person that I have extremely high expectations and I am extremely impatient. And I feel like there are times during the whole production of this podcast where I felt like I haven't done enough and it hasn't been good enough and all that kind of stuff. And Morgan Egloff gave me my opportunity to talk to my actual first professional golfer. And I think that made a huge difference for the success of the podcast. So I got to give him a huge shout out. I just got a chance to talk to Nick from Fat Chops. That episode goes live tomorrow. That was an awesome conversation. He and I talked for like 3 hours, dude. It was insane.
Us too. He's one of the best.
You guys should absolutely get Luke on the show. Brendan, I'll send you his contact info, but he would absolutely come on in a heartbeat for sure. He's an amazing guy. He's got some stories, dude. Like that's the other cool thing about having a podcast, when you get to hear people tell you things that you don't put on live airways. Like nobody else gets to hear it, but you get to hear it. Like it's kind of cool.
No, it's awesome. Me and Brian were able to do the podcast with Nick. He was awesome. And I feel like just hearing some, like my whole thing of this is just having a conversation. And I think that's the best part about it. You get to talk to people you wouldn't normally talk to, and we all share kind of this love for golf. And, you know, it definitely shows through your episodes. And I feel like that's the best part about it is, you know, everyone gets connected and it's great. I do think, you know, when your episode with Morgan was coming out, it was kind of, he was first starting out, and I've definitely seen like, you know, his progression over the past year. And I know you talked about your impatience. I can imagine like a guy who was just probably like the best player in high school, the best player in college, and then you get to that part of your career and you're just like, I'm no longer the best player. And like, you can kind of tell like in his golf videos and everything like that, he's like kind of had like that moment where he's just like, here we go. Like this is officially the grind and we're doing it. So I feel like that came off in your episode too, where you guys were definitely, you know, talking about kind of that struggle. And, you know, I feel like, I'm sure you talk about it with James, but it's very refreshing to hear people show kind of that humble side as well, where they're like, yeah, we really, really like, I know I'm grinding out here all the time and sometimes it's just not good enough, but at the same time, I'm going to keep going because it's a dream.
Yeah. And that was one of the coolest things about getting to talk to Tyrell Adams. If you guys haven't listened to that episode, again, I had to have other people, like friends and family, tell me that I needed to like reel myself back in, because I was getting like super frustrated with me feeling like I wasn't doing good enough. Mm-hmm. And my buddy Zach, who was co-hosting this with me at the beginning, he was like, bro, do you even understand like some of the people that we've had an opportunity to talk to, and we've only been doing this for a couple months? Like I've interviewed an NFL linebacker, a professional swing coach for celebrities and NFL players, 2 separate professional golfers. Well, 3 if you count Haley, she's a professional golfer. I've talked to a musician out of Nashville. I've talked to a musician out of a country music artist out of Texas. Like, I've had the opportunity to talk to some pretty incredible people, and it's been a fun ride, man. And I'm super lucky, and I'm just grateful.
I mean, it's all centered around a game we love, golf. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah, and the fun thing too is, like, you know, the episode, I don't know, we don't always talk about golf too. Like, that's the thing that I love about having a podcast, is just because it's a golf centered podcast, it doesn't stop me from trying to talk to other people. Like, if you will promise, I know you don't like editing a lot, but if you promise to cut this out, I'll tell you about like somebody else that I have lined up to come on the podcast that I haven't been able to do an interview with yet. But she doesn't play golf. Like,
one take. Sorry, Ryan. One take.
We'll talk after. We will talk after about it, though,
right.
for sure.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. Well, what do they do in real radio? They're like, save it for offline. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We will talk about that, though. So that is a huge. Everyone listening who follows
we won't even put a beep in there. We won't even just like beep over.
I don't even know what time we're at right now. I can't edit this. Are you joking? No. But there is, I mean, there's definitely a craft to it, and you know, we do our best. We get there, but yeah, I am very excited to hear this, and everyone who's listening. When that Tee It High episode comes out, we'll let you know.
That's so sad. Ryan was so excited to tell us too.
Yeah, well, I'll still tell you guys. I keep forgetting that you're gonna hit stop and you're gonna stop recording at some point, but we'll still be talking. So, and for what it's worth, I'm gonna shut up for a second if you guys want to ask me more questions, because I love being able to answer them, and I don't get to ask. I always have to ask them, but
absolutely.
I can talk for as long as you guys want, man. I don't have to work tomorrow. Like, I'll be up till 2 a.m. talking to you guys if you want. So
that's the glory of having other podcasts, like people on here, is like, it's a 2-way street at this point. It's not like an interview. I feel like it's just conversation, and it's great. I mean, it's cool. And the TikTok community, I mean, how did you get into like TikTok specifically? I mean, you said you were having the podcast and then you switched over to golf, more golf related content with your podcast, but did TikTok come naturally to you? When did you start? Was like a pandemic thing? Like, I mean, I think for the 4 of us and a lot of at least 25 plus year olds like that, I mean, that's generous. I mean, 28
I was just
plus
about
year
to
olds.
say, Ryan, don't give our real ages out. No, I'm kidding.
I might actually be the oldest one out of all 5 of us.
Yeah, but like I think that was a big pandemic thing, being like, oh, we'll never download, that's for kids. But then we started having success with TikTok and finding different golf communities and things like that, people that share our similar interests. But tell us kind of about how you got into Tee It High, about the podcast, the TikTok, social media, all that, and what do you plan for that specifically?
Yeah, so TikTok's funny. In 2020, I got put on work furlough from my job because of the pandemic. So I was out of work for about 4.5 months. And during that time, that's the very first time that I downloaded TikTok. I wanted to just see what it was all about. I had nothing to do all day long. I was super bored. I'm just a funny, outgoing person. So I thought it might be a like fun way for me to just kind of put myself out there. And I realized like I quickly fell into a rabbit hole, and I was wasting so much time
scrolling.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was nuts. And so after a few months, I made the decision in 2020. I deleted every single social media account that I had: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, every single one of them. And I didn't just delete the app off my phone. Like, I sent emails to all of them and said, wipe my shit from your servers.
Wow.
I lost all my media, all my Facebook posts, like all the photos that I had on Facebook, all the videos that I had on Facebook for years, all that shit got wiped out. And I was like, I don't care about it anymore. I went an entire year with 0 social media. And then during that work furlough is when I started the podcast. The first, I take that back. I'm sorry. No. So anyway, I went a whole year without social media. Fast forward 2021, March of 2021, I had to have my lower back fused. I've had some back issues for a really long time. I finally got to the point where they had to fuse 2 of my vertebrae together. And so I missed another 5 months worth of work. I was just sitting at home recovering from major back surgery. Super bored again. And I had been watching a ton of YouTube videos on my TV at home. And a lot of them were like financial literacy, real estate investing, all that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, well, 4 months off of work in 2020, I wasted my life and I didn't do anything to better myself. Now I have an opportunity to take time off again where I don't have to work. I don't want to waste it. So I took online courses, got my real estate license. My wife and I created a real estate investing company. And then I thought that I could start helping people with like motivational stuff. And so that's where the podcast originally started. I just called it the Ryan Murray Podcast. I kind of took a page out of Joe Rogan. No need to make it fancy. Just put your name attached to it, build your own brand. And originally it was just, I wanted to try to help motivate younger people to have a better life in a shorter period of time. I'm almost 40 years old. Like I just turned 39. And it took me until I was probably it took me until I was probably 30 before I really started being able to like turn a corner on being financially independent. And so I didn't want 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds to have to wait that long to be able to see success, especially when there's so many things in this world that they can do that's just so incredibly easy. So I started the podcast and it was mostly just motivational stuff. I met a lot of people in my life that own their own businesses. And so I was just doing random interviews. My wife and I know a lady that's a travel agent. She owns her own business where she has travel agents working for her and they build vacation packages for people. So I did an interview with her. A friend of ours owns her own real estate brokerage. We did interviews with her. Through my brother-in-law, I know a guy that owns his own coffee company. That's the one where I screwed up and I got a 2-hour conversation with him, not recorded, zero audio.
Like it never happened.
Yeah. And to this day, he and I still haven't been able to reschedule to do it again. And then, so I was doing that for like a few months and then I realized, okay, well, let me re-download Instagram and TikTok and I can use that to advertise for the podcast. I didn't really want to use it for anything else other than to just kind of get my name out there and like put stuff together for the podcast. And then right after I did that, I lost interest in doing the podcast the way that I was. And so now I still have these social media apps on my phone and I was just messing around with them. And so I was just using TikTok as like entertainment for myself at that point. And then at the beginning of this year, a little after the beginning of this year, that's when I had the light bulb moment where I was like, I still enjoy doing the podcast, but I need to find something that I'm passionate about that I'll never get sick of talking about. And I'm like, how the hell did I not think about this sooner? But I live, breathe, eat, drink, sleep, shit, golf. Like I could talk golf 24 hours a day, 7 days a week and never get sick and tired of it. I could play golf every single day. I remember when I was in high school, our teacher would ask us, what do you guys want to be when you grow up? And I'd be like, I don't give a shit. And they're like, what do you mean? And I said, I just want to make enough money in my life so that when I retire, all I have to worry about is playing golf every single day. And they're like, well, maybe you should think about that a little bit more. And I'm like, well, maybe you should have thought about it a little bit more, but I got a pretty solid plan. Like, yeah. So it turned into a golf podcast. And I learned from the first run of trying to do it where it was just the Ryan Murray Podcast. It's not very fun and it's not very entertaining when it's just one person. So I asked all my closest friends that I knew liked golf and I thought they'd be interested in like spending 1 or 2 hours a week talking to me on a podcast about golf, and none of them wanted to do it. And I was like, damn it. So I started kind of just doing it by myself. And then I had a buddy here in Tennessee, Zach, that was like, yeah, man, like I'll help you out with it and I'll support you with it. And so he co-hosted it with me for a little while. And then he got super busy in his personal life and the podcast kind of was going a little bit different direction. And we just both agreed, like, you know, it was good. He was just supporting me. He had my back. And so now I'm kind of going back to doing it solo and I've been having fun with it, man. Like it's been a blast. That's a long answer. I apologize, but that's how it all.
No, that's a perfect answer. That is fantastic. It's actually pretty similar to when I first started the pod. So I first did this. I know we talk about it like a lot with the episodes, but I first started back in 2017, like doing a blog, and I wasn't very good at it. And then I started a podcast. I did it by myself. Mike will remember because Mike was one of the only listeners back in the day, but it was 20 minutes and it was not very good. So I asked if Mike wanted to do it and Mike said yes. And then he was like, can Tim do it with us too? And I was like, yes. And then we this year we brought Brian on to complete the 4-man scramble. So now we just got the dream team. So that's you know, it's so much better. I feel like when you have more people on it, because I know, especially with us four now too, like, you know, Mike just had a kid, so unfortunately sometimes he's kind of he can't make all the episodes, and with Tim's schedule too, he can't make some of the episodes. So, you know, it's nice to have a group where we can just be like, okay, like, you can't make this one, that's not a big deal, we'll go with it, and then you come back, it's like you never left.
Yeah. Well, congrats, Mike. That's awesome, man. And I feel super honored that I got all four of you guys.
Yes. No, I hate missing this, but yeah, Poppy is 3.5 months and she is a handful, man. So I'm battling over here, but this is a nice little outlet. Ryan, I love knowing, well, I could talk golf too. Like, I effing love it, man. And I don't know why, but it's just a wonderful sport. And I got into it a little later, like high school, but didn't really take it seriously, and have just taken it more and more serious every year. So, like, what, obviously you got into it pretty young, and like, why, and, you know, what do you work on? Like, obviously you're probably not practicing it a ton, but like, like, what are you emphasizing in your game? What are you trying to get better at?
So I have a very good answer for that question, but I can't miss this opportunity. Your daughter's name is Poppy?
Yeah.
Is that because Rory McIlroy's daughter's name is Poppy, or is that just because that's the name that you guys settled on?
Dude, it's not. My wife loved it early, like 10 months ago. I know Poppy, I think, was around Rory's Poppy, but I didn't know until like a couple weeks ago, or a couple weeks after she was born, that Rory had a daughter, Poppy. But dude, I mean, I sat down with my wife and Poppy watched that 150th British Open, or the Open, like it was Tiger in fucking 08 against
Rocco Mediate,
one leg, and Rocco. Like, I was on like the 8th or 9th hole, like just nudging my wife, like, this could be like Live versus PG, like this could be so good for golf. Like, we're witnessing the 150th. Rory's gonna, like, the worth was so well worth it. Like, and then Cam Smith just went birdie after birdie, and Rory couldn't step up to the plate. But yeah, man, I'm happy that he's got a daughter, Poppy, for sure.
Well, I love that name, man. I think that's an awesome name for your daughter, and congrats again that you guys have a brand new baby.
Thanks, man.
But to go back and answer your question, as far as like golf, little bit of a sad story to start with. My grandfather, my mom's dad, absolutely loved playing golf. He lived on a golf course. He played golf every single day. Used to play golf with Chichi Rodriguez.
Oh, Chichi Rodriguez. Yeah.
Yeah. So unfortunately,
I think Brendan, did we get his autograph at the Bank of America?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Me and Mike used to, you know, the little sign kids,
stand bears.
So me and Mike back in the day, we would be the cute little standard bearers, and we walk around. And yeah, they used to pair us up, and we got Chichi Rodriguez one year. It was sick.
It's cute.
Awesome.
Cute is a little generous, but
a character, an absolute character and a half.
Yeah.
Chichi Rodriguez.
Yeah, and I so unfortunately my grandfather passed away when I was extremely young. I may have only been 3 or 4 years old when he passed away, and so I never had an opportunity to play golf with him or learn how to play golf from him.
Oh.
But I promise, like, I would have absolutely been playing golf with him every weekend if he was alive, because he would have made it happen. That's how much he loved it. So I think that's where I get my passion and my love for the game is from him. And I remember the very first set of clubs I ever used was his old Persimmon clubs and his old Ben Hogan blades.
Wow.
And so it was super cool, man. Like, I have memories of that. And it's also sad that, you know, when I got a little bit older, we ended up selling those in a garage sale one day. And I really wish that I still had that set of clubs, because now I look back at it at my age and I'm like, gosh, dude, that's so nostalgic. Like, very few people have those. It just would have been awesome. I mean, he had a Persimmon driver, 3-wood, and I think a 5-wood or something like that. But
wow.
Yeah. So I learned how to play probably like 10 years old is like when I've first picked up a golf club and started playing. I grew up playing baseball my whole life, and so it was kind of like I guess a relatively easy transition. never taken any lessons, just self-taught. And so
still squishing the bug though. You got to still squish the bug.
Yeah. Seriously. But as far as like what I work on my game, I am the epitome of the golfer that plays golf and doesn't practice golf.
Right.
I have all the shit that I could use to practice in my house, and it just collects dust. My wife probably hates me for it, but yeah, like the one thing that I need to work on right now is I just need to work on like consistency with my swing, but I have a bad habit of like coming over the top. And so I'm really super hyper focused on trying to like hit down on the ball and like get myself in the right body position. So I do a lot of work on the range with just wedges, and I try not to hit too many long irons or drivers before I go into rounds, because I just want to get that consistency down. And it doesn't translate. And to be fair, man, like I used to be a 10 handicap. I used to play 4 rounds a week, and I was like just about to break into single digit handicap. And then got rid of a golf membership that I had at a golf course, built a house, didn't stop playing as much. And then 2 back surgeries in 8 years. I'm just not the same as I used to be, unfortunately.
Just like Tiger. That is just like that. I was gonna
Same
say,
thing. Back fusion.
Yeah.
Same thing.
I mean, you're preaching to the choir in regards to we don't practice. It's like if we have enough time to practice, we'd rather just be playing. At that point, it's like we'd rather just be out on the course and playing. I mean, with none of us here. I mean, I have a season pass at a local 9-hole course here, but they don't have a range. The putting greens stink. So there's no real thing. So we don't have all the amenities of a driving range, accessible practice range, and hours in the day to go out in there and practice day in and day out. And so I think just playing is the way to go at this point. But no, I mean, that's great to hear all that. And it sounds like, I mean, even after the back surgery, you can still win a major. I think you can still come back and prove us all wrong that you're out of the game and you lost your touch. You'll get back down there. I could see you in single handicaps fairly soon.
Yeah, I just need the biggest thing that I need to focus on isn't even my golf game. It's just my fitness. I need to really get back to like working on my flexibility and my mobility. That's the hardest part right now. It's just not being able to have the flex in my back when I'm swinging, but I can still poke it a little bit. I can still carry it over 290. So
you still have your short game, or did you never have a short game? What's like the best aspect of your game, would you say? At least right now. I know for us it changes by the day. But
mine's the same, man. It just depends on the day of the week. Like some rounds I'll go out there and I can absolutely roast my driver and put it in the fairway on every single hole, and I can't chip to save my life. And then other days my short game saves my ass because my driver is spraying golf balls all over the course. And those are the rounds where like I save my receipt for the round, because at the end of the year when I file my taxes, I try to write it off as a charitable donation to the golf course.
I've never heard that.
But yeah, I think I think probably my putting is probably like the most consistent though.
That's great. I mean, it's just that I always say it all the time, especially at our skill level. All the aspects of your game, driving, iron game, approach game, short game, if as soon as all 3 of those things click, then you're on the PGA Tour. I don't think you're never going to have all of those things aligned at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ryan, out of all that, we got to ask the question that we always ask. Do you have any hole-in-ones?
I have 0 hole-in-ones. 0.
Same.
I've had a couple of this, like a couple times now. I've had that scenario where I walk up to the green and my ball is sitting in yesterday's pin location.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's the
But
closest.
then you realize you wouldn't have been there if it was there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think the closest I've ever got is like hitting a tee shot with inside 3 feet, but
you should get intel on where the old pin location was and aim for that pin location. Maybe you'll be lucky.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw
where it's going to be tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. But you saying you have 0 hole-in-ones, that brings our group to a grand total of 0.
Nice.
All 5 of us. There we go. Thanks.
I don't know if you saw.
Thanks for not contributing, as we have not either to the hole-in-one count.
What were you saying, Brendan?
I don't know if you saw the picture on Instagram the other day, but it was literally like it landed like kind of in the. It was like in the hole, but like not really. You know what I mean? Like, and people are like, "Does this count?"
Yeah, it was like wedged right on the lip.
Yeah, it was like buried into the hole. I'm like, if I ever get close to that, like I'm absolutely count. I'm like that. It's your fault that your cup broke. It's not mine. I'm counting.
Well, so if you follow the letter of the interpretation of what a shot made is, no, that does not count.
Yeah.
Because the ball has to reach the bottom of the cup in order for it to count. And that's on any shot. Like if you're putting and your ball doesn't hit the bottom of the cup, it still doesn't count. So that's why when you watch like Kevin Na walk in putts and he's trying to pick the ball up super quick, he always hesitates just a second before he picks the ball up out of the cup, because the ball has to touch the bottom of the cup. Otherwise it doesn't count.
Interesting. So then would you play the embedded ball rule and then have to drop it at the nearest location after you, I don't know. And then could you possibly drop it? And then what if it falls in the cup? Is that technically no close?
It's a good question. I think because it's on the green though, like you can lift it, clean it, and place it because you're on the green. The only time that it wouldn't count is if you're not on the green. So then you'd have to play embedded ball. But I think with it being on the green, you're able to just pick it up, clean it off. You got to repair the little like chunk that you took out of the lip of the hole. But then that's like
bring in the ground screw for that.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll keep my hands off that.
I'll tell you this real quick, like to go back to the hole-in-one question, the coolest birdie that I've ever had in my life. I was in Arizona and there's a golf course out there called Silverado. It's in Scottsdale. And there's a very short par 4 that plays right along a major road that's like 6 lanes wide. And then on the other side of the road, there's a high school baseball field. And I snap hooked the shit out of my drive on this hole one day. And to the point where I was like, I swear, I hope I don't hit a car. And so like I walk up to this par 4, I find where my ball crossed. I take a drop. I'm on top of a hill. I'm like 75 yards away from the flag. Pull my 60-degree out and just try to get it up on the green. And I watch my ball hit the fringe, bounce a couple times, and roll right in the hole. And I hold out for birdie.
After hitting one OB.
After hitting one OB.
Wow.
Yeah.
Golf is a very frustrating game. Very frustrating, but very rewarding at the same time, isn't it? Yeah. Oh my goodness. That is, oh man, that's crazy.
I feel like I've heard of that a lot of people like, do you have a hole-in-one? And they'd be like, yes, but it was on my provisional or my second shot after going into the water. And I do appreciate the people that mention that. They don't say, yeah, I have a hole-in-one. They say, well, there's an asterisk in there. It's like, it's kind of like the Pebble Beach discussion. It's like, yep. if you hold out on your second shot from the second shot, the second attempt at it, then you got to at least mention it for the sanctity of the game, integrity of it. But
I was trying to find the rule on the bottom of the cup before Ryan spit it out. But one of the things that pops up on Google is, why do you have to buy drinks after a hole-in-one? Pretty funny. I mean, buying drinks, one way to repay it to the golf gods, but also keeps golfers honest during the round so that they don't lie about it. You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Never thought of that.
Never thought of that either.
I think it's just a bunch of cheap ass people trying to celebrate on your dime.
Yeah, getting them while they're riding high off of their hole-in-one.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's why I haven't hit it in the hole-in-one.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah,
I'll say
it. Yeah, I'm too cheap to hit a hole-in-one, guys. Yeah. Not. Yep, just don't want to pay for everyone's beers.
Yeah, Mike has the capability.
Yeah, dude. My luck is I'm going to hit my first hole-in-one on the 7th hole at Pebble Beach, and I'm going to have to go buy drinks there. I'm going to have to take a fucking bank loan out to cover that bar tab.
Yeah.
Oh, that's when you just pray that there's one person in the bar, right? Like,
yeah.
You're just like, all right, everyone's like, we're the first group out. Like, there's no one here.
Yeah.
I feel like the best place in America is to hit it at Augusta, where the prices are always low.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Ooh, speaking of that, and this is a question Tim used to ask a lot when we first started doing interviews. So you have the four majors, right? Each of the four majors. So the Masters is always played at Augusta. U.S. Open would be played at Pebble Beach. The PGA, we kind of go back and forth because like there's no like true like just PGA play. It's like I guess
no one cares about the PGA anyway.
Exactly. So the PGA is going to be number 4 no matter what, and the Open's at St. Andrews. What are you ranking by? I guess what would you rank each major if they are played at their preferred destination?
Okay, let's put the PGA at like Whistling Straits then.
Yeah, that's good.
So again, PGA is number 4 because nobody cares about it.
No matter even if it's at a great place like Whistling Straits. Yeah.
Honestly, at that point, dude, put it at Bethpage. It doesn't even matter. I would probably put the Players ahead of the PGA. In my opinion.
I like that. I like that.
Hot take.
I'd put a non-major ahead of the fucking PGA.
That's incredible.
But I'm doing St. Andrews number 1. It's the birthplace of golf. You can't put it anywhere else other than number 1. I'm putting Augusta at number 2. It's the Mecca of golf, and I'm putting Pebble Beach at number 3.
I like it.
Okay.
And then I'll put the Players at number 4, and I'll put PGA at number 5.
I love that.
And I'll probably put the Waste Management.
I'll
probably put the Waste Management at 5, and I'll put PGA at 6, and then I'll just keep going down the list and just keep shoving that further down.
I love that.
Oh, that's
so much. So if Augusta is the Mecca, what is the Kaaba? You know, that thing they worship in Mecca. What is like the one spot in Augusta that is like the holiest of areas at Augusta?
Amen Corner, 12th hole. Golden Bell, baby. I even have it tattooed on my arm. You guys can't see it because I got the background on, but I'll show you later.
Holy cow.
That is awesome.
Unreal. Oh,
yeah.
It is. It's, I mean, I really like, you know, obviously you can't say it's not Amen Corner. I really like kind of the 15th and 16 holes, how you're right there. And it's crazy water, like both greens surrounded by water. Like you have to have pinpoint accuracy into both of those greens. But obviously, again, you can't not say that Amen Corner is.
Well, also super underrated is that drive up Magnolia Lane.
Did you happen to see the drone footage that they had where they did the drone shot drive it up Magnolia Lane and went through the clubhouse? That was cool.
Yeah. Did you see the clip where Jack Nicklaus got stopped by security and they asked him for his credentials as he was driving up to Augusta this year?
I did. And
it took the guy a minute to figure out like who he was. And then Jack was so cool about it. He's like, "It's okay, buddy. Like, no big deal." He's like, "But do you really need to see my credentials?"
Right. Yeah. It's like, do I have to show you all my jackets that I have, all my green jackets? Like, what do you need?
I built
I have 6 of them.
I mean, it totally makes sense because I mean, I guess I don't know what the staff at Augusta is like, but for the most part, it's just volunteers that just like sign up and just do it. So it's like they may not actually be golf. Maybe if it's a younger kid, maybe their parents made them sign up or something. But
while we're on the topic of Augusta, I've got a question for you guys, and I'm glad that Mike's coming back in.
There he goes.
He'll be back.
Yeah. So, do you guys? This is actually a question that was asked to me when I was interviewing Alan Cheney on my show, and I love it so much that I'm like hijacking it from him. But do you think that the Masters would be as significant if it wasn't played at Augusta? Or do you think Augusta wouldn't be significant if the Masters wasn't played there?
Both.
Yeah, I think you kind of need. So I know like we're never going to get invited to the Masters, but anyways, so it doesn't really matter. But like I have said before that I love the Masters. I think it's great. The Masters is by far and away the most hyped up major because it's a tradition. You know, you hear Jim Nance, a tradition like any other, hello friend, like all that stuff. Like, you know it. Now, with that being said, it is the most exclusive major for a reason. It's always going to be that, and that's what they want it to be. So I think it gives it a little bit of that side as well. But I think Augusta National is an amazing course. I think it's probably the best course it's one of, if not the best courses in America. But I do think like without the Masters, like Augusta wouldn't be as prestigious, and without Augusta National, if the Masters was played at like East Lake or something like that, like I don't know if it would be as prestigious. Although it might even be, you could also make it that it would be more prestigious if it was played at East Lake, because that's where Bobby Jones learned to play golf and everything like that. You know what I mean? Like it could be kind of a story like that, or you talk about like the country club with, the Francis We Met house, and like everything, with us being kind of, all from New England, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, like that's a huge thing up here. Like you hear about it, but it's definitely, I would agree with you that because they're both, it wouldn't be you couldn't take the Masters and play it at somewhere else, but you couldn't take Augusta and have another PGA Tour tournament there too. If that,
I disagree with that.
Yeah, I think you could host another major there and not call it the or a PGA tournament. That the course should be valued more than.
So with the PGA, Ryan, in your eyes, would the PGA Championship bump up the list at least one spot if it was at Augusta?
That's a good take. I think it would for sure. I think the only reason that the Masters is what it is because of the golf course Augusta National. And prior to a few years ago, it was like one of the most exclusive golf courses on planet Earth to get into, just to get a membership to. Now you've got Michael Jordan's Grove 23 is like the most exclusive course in the world. And then you got like Seminole in Florida is extremely exclusive. Like you can't even, unless your bank account has a certain amount of zeros and you get a particular invite from a particular person, you're not getting in there. But yeah, I don't think the Masters is what it is without Augusta National. It's just that track is just untouched, man. And visually to put a golf tournament on television, it is the most it's the most attractive golf course that they play anywhere in the world, any day of the week, any week of the year.
It's the Disneyland of golf courses. It's like everything is pristine. Yeah. The green, there's no other green like
the attention to detail.
Right.
It's like all of that. And I think
colors of the flowers, like
the piano playing in the back. Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, the pumped in fake bird noises that they have in the bushes and the trees and stuff. Like,
give me it all. Give me every single bit of it.
The pimento cheese sandwiches.
Give it to me.
The pimento cheese sandwiches that everybody hates.
Right there.
That everybody hates, but they all say they love.
Oh God, pimento cheese is not good.
It's bomb. It's so good.
It's
so good.
Do you guys know why all the concessions are so cheap there every year?
I don't know why, but like I feel like they kind of tell us every year, and I just don't pay attention.
Yeah, I feel like I've known once before in my life.
Is it just because they make all the money in the broadcast and the merch stuff?
But the merch, right? Is it the merch alone?
It's the broadcasting rights. Augusta National charges those television stations such an astronomical amount of money to broadcast that tournament that they're able to they do that on purpose. They charge the broadcasting rights so expensive so that they can keep their concession price as well.
Awesome.
I love that.
They only allow like one or two channels to broadcast it. Like you can't, like the Augusta National controls all that shit, and it's like up to them on who they want to actually put it.
I can't get it on the Peacock. You don't think?
Can't get it on the cock.
They absolutely have the best
anyways.
Best
they have
app
the Masters app. And that is very cool that you can watch every single shot on the that is something that they did very, very well. Like I'm very proud of the Masters.
I still watch the 2019 Masters sometimes. I'll go back to that app.
Nice.
So this is
like watching. That's like watching Phil when he first won. Like obviously 2019 was so much more important, but like I watched Phil's when Phil first won before he, which we'll talk about too, but before he went. But a little to the dark side.
This is an absolutely unbelievable segue into Tim happens to have an announcement that has not been said to anybody before.
So every year we apply for tickets to go to the Masters.
What? Don't tell me this is going where I think it might be going.
It's going there.
So Brian reminded us to check the app or check the entrance.
The emails had not come out yet.
The emails had not come out, and so I checked, and it said, "Congratulations, you have won tickets to the Wednesday practice round at Augusta National.
Yes.
And
that's the best day. That is the best effing day to go, man.
Is that the par 3 contest?
Yes.
It is. It is.
Foot is in the door.
That's so badass, dude.
And then you hopefully can get tickets for Thursday or something.
How many tickets did you apply for?
I applied for 4 tickets for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I just put it all in. And then I put it all. So imagine they were like, "You've been selected for," and then I'm out like $20,000. But no, they yeah. And then no, it was just, I don't know. It's probably like 5 years in the making, and but yeah, I don't know,
bro. That's so exciting, man. Are all the Duffin' Up guys gonna go? All 4 of you guys gonna get tickets and go?
Looks like
we will let Tim make that decision, but family does come first.
At least
Timbo,
2.
Yeah,
at least 2.
Wait, did you get 4, Tim? Did you get 4 tickets?
I did get 4. I did get 4 tickets.
All right, I'll see you there.
So going back to like the cheapness of it, how much do you think a Masters ticket costs?
I already know the answer to what you're about to pay for yours, so I'm not gonna answer this.
On Thursday? On what
Wednesday, $50, and then rounds $100, and probably $200 for the last day.
That's
Wednesday. Wednesday it is $100 a ticket.
Oh, it's not bad.
Yeah, you were off by $50 every day, pretty much.
It doubled.
Yeah,
it doubled. I'm okay with that.
So, and
it's
then,
only
so for the
300 for Sunday.
Well, yeah, what was the U.S. Open? The U.S. Open was $200 a ticket.
Practice round was $75, and it was I think $200 for Sunday. Yeah,
Sunday was
for Sunday.
Yeah, we got it for $300, but we had that little area that we could go
the little thing.
It was on the first. It was the little area on the first hole that we could go into. That was nice. But yeah, that was a Father's Day gift for my dad. Happy Father's Day, Dad. We love you.
Yeah, ours too.
Dude, congrats, man. That's so exciting that you guys got selected to be able to buy those tickets, man. And I've never met you in person, and I don't mean to be too aggressive, but if you don't buy tickets, I'm gonna find out where you are and smack you upside the head, dude. Because
no, they're already.
This might be the last time you get to buy.
Yeah,
the credit card has already been accepted. That money is gone.
So cool. And being on the ground, being there, even though it's Wednesday, you got to find tickets for Thursday. I feel like we're already there. Foot's in the door.
How much money are you guys gonna siphon off just from merch while you're there? Oh my God. Just come back. You don't even go down with any clothes, and then you just come back.
I gotta know, because they have that thing where you send the clothes right back. You don't even have to travel with it.
Yeah, they'll ship it right from there.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. They're Disney World. They have everything figured out.
They did that in 2019. My wife and I were at the US Open in Pebble Beach, and they offered the same thing. You could buy as much as you wanted in the merch sense, and then they would just UPS it from the golf course.
What would you rather do? Would you rather go see a US Open? Would you rather play at Augusta? Would you rather play at Pebble Beach? Or would you rather go see a US Open at Pebble Beach? Or would you rather go see the Masters at Augusta?
So we had this as well. But sorry, Ryan, I don't mean to interrupt, but Tim did this to us a couple weeks ago with St. Andrews. So I know my answer, but go ahead, Ryan.
Am I ranking these 1 through 4, or am I just picking one this time?
Rank them 1 through 4.
I like the ranking. I like this ranking.
All right, so give me the list one more time. It's play around at Augusta, watch the Masters
Sunday
Masters.
Sunday.
Play Pebble Beach or watch around at Pebble Beach.
Watch the US Open.
Watch the Sunday US Open.
Okay. Number 1, play at Augusta. I'm going to bounce around. Number 4, watch a Sunday at the US Open. Is it at Pebble Beach or not at Pebble Beach?
At Pebble Beach.
At Pebble Beach. And the only reason that I'm putting that at number 4 is because I've already done it.
Okay.
and I got to make Tiger Woods laugh on the 17th tee at a US Open at a major in his victory red polo.
What did we say? What do we do?
I'll tell you guys after this. It's a little bit longer story, and I've talked about it a couple other times too. So anyway, So then the other two options are play at Pebble Beach and watch the Masters.
Play at Pebble Beach. Yeah, I watch that. Exactly.
So play, watch.
Yeah. Play Augusta, play Pebble Beach, watch the Masters, watch Pebble Beach. Because if you've played around at Augusta, you've already walked the course, you've already been there, you've already seen it. So like going back and watching a round of golf there in the number 2 position, I feel like that's just unnecessary. So I do play, watch for sure.
Likewise.
I like it. We all agreed when we were like play St. Andrews or watch a Sunday. It was like play around at St. Andrews, but you can't watch the Open there, or watch the Open, but you can't play there. I'm picking play 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
Unless Tiger's involved, then you kind of want to watch him win in person. But
so I have a question for all 4 of you guys, and you can, each one of you has to answer it also. What is one thing on the golf course that somebody could say to you that will immediately trigger you?
There's so much. Even if you cough, I'm triggered. It's like, dude.
And Brian, I always say that Brian could hear a dish in a kitchen drop in China, and he will be distracted on his
It's the best hearing. I only have good hearing on the golf course, but I've gotten better with that. I try to relax. I need to relax in general, but yeah, I've gotten better at that.
That's so funny.
Ooh, the triggered. Ooh, that's a good question.
It is a good question. Like, I can't even get mad at the guy who drives by and honks his horn or yells out the window in the middle of your backswing. I mean, I've probably been there when I was young.
It's comedy. It's just comedy. It's just like,
no, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, if I was playing great coming down like 17 and I got that, I'd probably be pissed.
If it'll help, I'll tell you guys. For me, it's when people tell me I need to not swing as hard, it pisses me off. And then I asked the same question to the guys from Superfan Sprint, and Jensen's response was 1. You know, like when you put your tee on the, you put your ball on the tee, and then you accidentally knock it off, and somebody's like 1.
And it's not 1, but I just learned. I just thought of mine.
Yeah, it's not 1.
It's fucking Brendan Monroe here. When we play together, I suck hitting my driver. I'll hit a drive and it might look straight for the first second, but it's not going to finish straight. It's going to finish way left. And you're like, my dad does it. It's like like when the DN rushes Tom Brady, or when the Pats DN rush Eli Manning, he's like, yes, got him. And he's not even fucking close to sacked. He's still standing with the football. Like, Brendan loves to do that. He loves to say, great shot. And I'm like, dude, wait till it lands, wait till it rolls, wait till it stops fucking running.
I was literally going to say the same thing, because my dad does it to me all the time, and that's how I learned it. I learned it.
Look how triggered he's getting from asking the question, and he's not even on the course, dude. Like, I love it.
My dad does it to me 24/7 as well. Like one time,
like a putt too.
That's where you learn it. That's where
I learned it from. Absolutely. We were on a par 3, and it was over water. And when I say like I hit it, I literally hit it just like almost straight left off the tee. I literally almost hit it straight left off the tee. And my dad goes, and so it goes high, and like I see it bounce, and I was like, I can't believe I did that. And my dad goes, well, hey, at least you're dry. And we walk up, and it had bounced into the water. And I looked at him, and I was like, you are never allowed to talk to me while my ball is in the air ever again, because you did this. The golf gods hate you, and you stop it. My dad's also a 30 handicap, so like the golf gods actually hate him. But yeah, it's impressive.
Tim, you got anything?
What triggers me? It's probably
what I do this morning, Timmy. What I do this morning. Me and Timmy met at Meadowbrook in Southern Rhode Island at 5:54 this morning for a nice. I got 16 in.
Were you on time?
Yeah, I got there at 5:59.
What time was the tee off? 6:03.
Putting on your shoes on the first tee for sure.
I was ready to go. I had a coffee in hand. I made coffee.
Wow.
You're that guy, huh?
Oh, I'm the guy who shows up at like 6:07.
We tell him early, the tee times earlier, so that he gets there.
Yep.
I'm coming in on 2 wheels.
And that was before a kid. That was before you had a baby.
I think I'm getting better.
Time management.
What were you gonna say, Mike?
No, I just.
What did you say?
What I do to you this morning that triggered you?
Oh no, you didn't. You know what was awesome today is maybe when people are rushing up on you, that gets me like kind of frazzled, like just like especially playing with like like my dad or something like that because we're also worried about it and like he gets frazzled about it too and but today we had 2 guys behind us. We were walking. We had 2 guys behind us in a cart. Me and Mike and
they were teeing it forward, Ryan. They were teeing it forward.
and we yelled. Mike yelled back to him, and he said, "Hey, do you guys want to play through?" And they very kindly said, "No, just enjoy the round." And it was fantastic. It just cleared the mind, made a par the next hole. It was fantastic, and so maybe that's what Brett's frazzled.
That definitely, there's definitely pace of play and people behind you is always something that golfers, I'm sure, if you play a lot, think about. But it's so hard to just stay in your lane and focus on you.
Yeah. Brian, do you think?
But I know I'm going to hit a 300-yard drive and then duff it 5 feet on the next shot. I know that's going to happen, so it doesn't get me frazzled anymore. It's just it's inevitable. It's inevitable. Used to, but no, I just know it's going to happen. So I go, here we go.
It's the podcast shit for a reason.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Different day. Brian, go ahead.
No, I mean, I've been trying to find more zen in my life in general, but also just on the golf course because everything bothers me on the golf course specifically, and outside not much bothers me, but I think something that continues to bother me, and I can only think of like a handful of people specifically. I think it's probably people that I'm most close to, is because I know that their etiquette is so much better than it is, but I think it has to do a lot around the green specifically in regards to like marking your ball when it's definitely not in my way, but it's just like if I'm like chipping from the rough or the fringe and like just like getting in the zone, I'm like, okay, I'm picturing my shot and I'm there practice swinging, and then I just see them like go over there, kind of like walk in my side sight of like in my line of vision to mark their ball when it's not an issue, or asking like, you want me to pull that for you? And it's just like, dude, like I was so like I was gonna make it if you didn't just talk, or I was gonna I had it all perfectly in my head, and then as soon as just like one little thing where it's just like, dude, you want me to pull that for you? Oh, are you going or am I gonna go? And I'm like, dude, it's just like, I don't know, have a little bit of awareness. Like it's not it's just something I'm trying to get better at, but I think it's like a very select few people where it's like I know that they could be better and they don't mean it, and like for the most part I think that they don't mean it, or I hope that they don't mean it, but it's just like stuff like that just triggers me. But but it's totally a me thing. It's totally harmless. It's not mental warfare on their side. They're trying to go more like have golf etiquette and try to like really follow golf etiquette, but there's some ways where you need to pull back your golf etiquette where it's a non-issue. Like I know you should mark your ball because if I hit your ball, then whatever in regards to the rule book, then yeah, we're both screwed, or some like things like that where, but like it's like we're just playing, just leave it. You're not close to me, but now I don't know, that just something like that. If that makes sense.
I need one of the other 3 of you guys to do me a favor, and the next time that you're playing around a golf with Brian, as he's getting ready to hit his tee shot, I just need you to ask him one question right before he hits his tee shot, and just ask him, hey man, do you hold your breath when you go to swing, or do you keep watch that deteriorate his brain, dude.
Why am I the one that I'm getting attacked? Everybody else had little irks.
Just because I feel like you're the one that it would get to the most. You know what I mean? Like
I'm only really tightly wound out there on the golf course. Yeah.
I mean, for crying out loud, I asked what triggers you, and Tim gave me a response that told me like what calms him down. You know what I mean? So like, I don't think that's going to affect him on a golf course.
Oh, it's funny. I mean, it was true. Tim's was, I'm calm. Mike's was playing with me. Mine was playing with my dad. And Brian was everything.
That fucking bird chirped again.
Yeah, it's always the same bird. It's always the same breed. I don't know. It's all the government drones. Birds aren't real.
Hey, Brian's first round at Augusta, he's going to tell the groundskeepers, I need you guys to turn the volume down on the birds chirping in the bushes.
See, that's I'm starting to think that's just coming from Tim's bag. Honestly, at this point.
Did you guys see that when they found out that they were piping in chirping birds at Augusta? Some like ornithological or ornithologicalist or whatever it is that study birds, they commented in, they were like, that African swallow is not indigenous to the Augusta region. Like something it was like, it was incredible. It was incredible. Just listen to the phone.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's a great question. The what irks you on a golf course?
Yeah. Well, there's another favorite question of mine too to ask people is, what is one thing that you absolutely have to have in your bag every time you go play? Aside from obviously like golf balls and tees, right? Like
putter. Aside from putter.
No, aside from clubs, anything golf.
My clubs.
Yeah. I need some kind of beverage like water. Yeah, mainly water.
I gotta have a
and
cigar
a box
cutter.
Of condoms.
Oh, box of condoms. Nice.
Cigar cutter.
Yeah, cigar cutter and a lighter. I gotta have both those things in my bag.
Awesome.
I played one of my best nines with a cigar in my mouth on Father's Day. And I don't usually smoke cigars, but I was playing like the whole round of 9, the back 9 with it in, and it was joyful. It was lovely.
I never used to smoke cigars on a golf course until I got married. And it wasn't because I got married. It was actually, but just before, yes, I said that real weird. Damn it.
We'll edit that one out. Yeah, we'll edit that one.
Fucking wife drove me to start smoking cigars. No, but like the day before my wedding, all the guys that were there, all my buddies and my dad and I, we all went and played a round of golf. We had 2 tee times back to back. There was like 8 of us on the golf course. And I can't remember if it was my brother-in-law or if it was one of my friends, because I'm going to be honest, there was a lot of alcohol consumed that day and I don't remember all of it. But somebody brought cigars for everybody. I think it might have been my brother-in-law. Just brought one cigar for everybody so that we could smoke it. It was just a celebration of me getting married. And from that day forward, man, I've been hooked, dude. Like I love smoking cigars now. I get at least 1, maybe 2 around. I think I might hop on Amazon right now and buy a cigar cutter. Honestly, I don't have one and I'm excited. This is getting me excited. What do you buy for cigar? Like, do you just buy cheap cigars or do you like your cigar? No.
That's the biggest no. That's Mike, you got shut down.
Do you happen to have like one of those cigar clips, or do you just like, what do you do? Do you just keep it in your mouth when you swing, when you putt? What do you do?
I need to get one of those cigar clips. I keep telling myself to buy one, and I haven't, because those are fantastic. No, it depends, man. Like sometimes I'll leave it. A lot of times I leave it on the back of the golf cart, like right above the tire on the little fender back there. I'll leave it right there. Other times, depending on what the tee box marker is, if it's like a big old block or something, then I'll set it on top of that. Sometimes I'll just set it on the ground. I don't really care.
They do. I actually. Well, I mean, I love a good cigar, but I never smoke them like ever. But I found one on one of the push carts. My buddies was using a rental. It was like someone left it there. It has a magnet on it. So it's like a magnet that holds a cigar. So you can like attach it to your golf cart. You can attach it to maybe a golf club.
Nice.
So that's something to look into, because I know Mikey has the kind of like the ones that's just like more of a clip. That I don't know if he uses it anymore, but it's just like keeping it off the ground from getting wet. But
we used to be big, not big, but like we used to thought we were cool and Black and Milds on
wood tip. Wood tip though.
Wow.
But you got to do the wood tip. It's classy.
Classy wood tip Black and Milds. Jeez.
Oh,
Yeah, that was a good time.
Yeah,
good time.
A glorified cigarette right there.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, were you guys smoking cloves when you couldn't get a Black and
right?
Mild? Or
The
what?
Garcia Vegas. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's
Phillies.
No, Mike,
High school
to
and
answer
college all over again.
to answer your question though, man, I don't. I generally tend not to do anything cheap. I'm kind of a brand snob.
Yeah.
With everything, so I only play Pro V1Xs. I'll drop 20 Pro V1Xs in a pond before I play one noodle. You know what I mean? Like, it's not gonna happen.
Understand.
I like that. I'm
immediate switch. If I lose one in the pond, I'm going right to the noodle.
I mean, I'll spend more money at a cigar shop before a round of golf than I'll spend for a round of golf. Like, I remember one time. Again, you guys got to remember, like, I don't have any kids, and like my wife and I we're dinks, right? Like dual income, no kids. So
I've never heard that before.
Yeah,
I like that.
I'm fortunate that I can enjoy some of the things that I never used to be able to enjoy when I was younger. But there was one time I flew back home. I literally hopped on a plane from Tennessee to Arizona to just go play golf with my buddies for like 4 straight days. I got off the plane. My buddy picked me up at the airport. The very first stop we hit was a cigar shop. I dropped like $250 on cigars. And then we went to the golf course and I bought cigars for like everybody. And my buddies don't even really like smoking them that much. So I just had cigars for like a whole weekend, basically. And, yeah. Awesome. So I'll buy like, I'll spend $35 on one cigar.
Terrific.
Awesome. If you could have any hole in your
that?
backyard, you could have any hole on the PGA Tour as your backyard. And it could be, actually, it doesn't have to be on the PGA Tour. It could be a hole that you play at your local muni. Your favorite hole that you would want in your backyard, you could play it over and over again. What is that hole that you want in your backyard?
You get the scenery, you get the water, you get all of it.
Yeah. It's funny. I thought that I was going to prepare myself for this one particular question better than I did. I actually gave Nick Fat Chops a fantastic response to what I thought he would think would be his favorite golf hole in his backyard. But for me, without putting a ton of thought into it, man, I would probably say that unless they've changed it, because I haven't been back there and I haven't played in forever, but that golf course I was telling you about, that Silverado golf course back home in Scottsdale, the 18th hole on that golf course was a par 3. But it's an elevated tee box hitting down into a green, and it's almost a complete island. There's like a little peninsula that comes off to the right, but there's water all the way around it. There's this giant fountain in the middle of the pond that's always spraying huge off to the left side of the hole. There's bunkers around the hole. It's undulating green, and it's honestly, it plays like 130 yards, man. But like, I could sit up on top of that hill and just hit golf ball after golf ball after golf ball trying to get on that green. And it's just, and then, like, you got the clubhouse behind it. You've got some of the Arizona scenery around you and stuff. Like, it's just a super cool hole. Aside from, like your traditional, the road hole at St. Andrews, or the 18th at St. Andrews, or, 12 at Augusta. Like, those are all, basic answers that a lot of people are going to say, but.
Oh, Brian, you're the road hole, right? Yours was the road hole, wasn't it?
Yeah, but everybody has their own opinion.
That's a fantastic hole in golf, man. I would love to just keep hitting balls over that hotel corner all day long. Like,
yeah.
The amount of times I would hit into said hotel, like, they would immediately be like, Brendan, please stop. Like, you owe us thousands of dollars.
Yeah. I listened to your guys' podcast with Nick, and I called him because he and I have been talking for a little bit too. And I called him after that, and I was like, bro, I got the perfect hole for you to have in your backyard. You go play it every single day. Because his whole thing was like, he wanted a par 5 because he wanted to be able to hit every single club in his bag. Right. Mm-hmm. But he liked water views and he liked mountain views. And so I told him that he needed to get on Google Images, and he needed to look up the American Century Classic that they play in Lake Tahoe every year.
Great event.
They just played it last week or the week before. Right.
Yeah.
But the 18th hole at that golf course is a par 5. You're playing through a pine tree forest. the finishing hole has a pond on the left side of the green, and it has Lake Tahoe on the right side of the green, and you have all of the snow-capped mountains completely surrounding you.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, that would be the perfect hole for you.
That is actually a sweet hole. I was watching some of that event. It's not too long, I don't think, too, right? It's like a gettable 5 too.
Well, yeah, because you're playing at like 5,000 plus feet in elevation, so
Right.
like you can hit a 320-yard 3-wood up there. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's a gettable par 5 for sure.
You got some bikinis on your right, maybe, that you can hang
Hey.
out. Hey,
You got something. You got something over there. I don't know if I'm looking at it or not.
I don't know if I'm looking either. What's up, Pop?
Oh man.
What about you guys? So Brian is the road hole. Mike, what's yours?
I said, is it 7 at Pebble, the par 5?
Six.
You go up over that.
Yep.
I don't know what you
That-
call it, but it's
The tree of the ledge.
uphill approach, blind approach.
Yep.
Yeah,
Tiger.
that's a good choice. Good choice. Brandon, what do you got?
I have 18 at Harbortown just because.
Oh man, this guy.
Yeah. No, I can't. I can't not. I can't.
You could.
I could, but no. No, it's very special. Like for family stuff too. Like it's a very special hole, like in our family as well.
His great grandfather was the lighthouse keeper.
Oh, God, imagine that.
You guys need to start doing a drinking game. Every time he brings up Harbortown, he's got to take a drink.
We'd be hammered.
Very lucky Timmy doesn't drink because Brian and Mike would be hammered.
Tim, what's your hole?
My hole is 18 at Pebble. My hole is 18 at Pebble, par 5. I can
All right.
just go for it in 2 all the time.
I like it.
And you know, we were playing a hole today at Meadowbrook, and there's this one par 5 that I absolutely love. But just thinking about it out loud now, you got me thinking, Ryan. You got me thinking.
Yeah,
And, especially
I'm not a fan of the
it's a
traditional
non-generic
answers.
one.
Yeah.
It's a non-generic. But
What
forget
hole at
me.
Meadowbrook is yours? Is the one you're thinking?
It is 12th hole. It's the one that goes back.
Oh, the long first one out of those 2 holes.
Yeah, that one.
That
The
one.
other par 5.
That one's
Yeah,
tough.
there's another par 5 that's like 600 yards. It's really narrow. But that would actually be a cool backyard hole because you could just play it over and over and try to birdie eagle it. But anyway, Ryan, thanks for getting me thinking.
Yeah. What's your guys' lowest rounds?
76 for me.
Nice.
That was at North Conway Country Club.
Mhm.
We're kind of the same realm. I was a 10 handicap at one point. Never reached the singles. Now I'm climbing back up the ladder
Yeah.
and gotta get back down.
It's hard. You're out there saving lives and getting cats out of trees. Like you don't have time to work on your golf game. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta save the cats.
Yeah.
But yeah, enough about me. Let's go to everyone else.
Brennan, you just had your most recent best score, right?
Yeah, it was back in April. It was a 79, and then at a 72 as well. So like that was my I play back home on the Rhode Island border. There's a club that my parents belong to, and they're a par 69, and I've shot 80 there like 5 times, but it's also like 11 over. So if you do like a par 72, it's like an 83.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like it's kind of, you know, we've talked about it before where it's just like, does it really count? And I always say, like, if I shoot 79 there, like that's a 79. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
But I did shoot like a straight 72, no mulligans, no nothing. So on a par 72, I shot 79, no mulligans, counted everything in the cup. Like it was
That's awesome.
It was the best round I've ever played in my life. And then the next day or 2 days after, we went back out and I shot a 95. So
Golf, baby.
Golf. Yep.
You're just on such a high. We got another bucket hat.
oh God, love it. And
Right.
that's the 2022 one, right, Tim?
Oh, that's lovely.
Correct.
Oh, it's beautiful.
The country.
Right, guy, you
club.
had yours recently too, didn't you?
No, I No, I not recently. I mean, last year was probably, I think in the past, I think back before I was even like have a full record, digital record of it. I think I broke 80. I think it's 78 or 79 back in the day, but most recently, I think I've been the chase to break 80 again. And last year my best score I think was 81, which is devastating. With like a double bogey on the 18th, like or worse on 17th. So yeah, it's a fleeting thing to break 80 for me now, especially now that I'm playing more responsible and which in the end is more dumb. But yeah, I don't know. Wish I was better. I should be better at the amount of play I play, but here we are.
Here we are. Yeah, the grind.
You're gonna get it this year, Bry. You're gonna get it this year, Bry.
Oh, show.
I just got to stop thinking about it. I think that's my thing. And you got to stop playing those bird sounds.
Yeah. Mike, did you say what your lowest round was?
No, I shot recently a 4-over round. The par is a 68, so I shot a 72. It's on a course that's like 5,600 yards, so it's a shorter, easier course. I mean, it was a good round, but I had one good round like that was for some qualifying local, like just regional tournament. I shot a 79 in a qualifier event that got me into the main event, which was my claim that's my biggest round I've ever had. It was, I don't even know. Like, actually, I think I met Bryn Bryn came down to visit for the first time. So it was like 6 years ago. But I actually, awesome. I did, I guess not humbly, crack the single handicap. So I'm in the high singles. It's like a 8.8, I think exactly. So
nice.
We're doing some decent things. I just spent out my ass on clubs. So nice. I'm like 3 or 4 rounds deep, playing some 13 new clubs. I kept my putter, so it's awesome. It's like my second child. I'm stoked with the clubs, but it's just now putting some good swings on them.
Nice. Did you go to Club Champion? Promo code Mike?
Yeah, I did go to Club Champion.
He did.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Promo code Brian. I gave Brian the referral. I don't know if you get any points there, Brian guy. Or
did you? Oh,
hey.
I don't know. They just knew that I think I put your name down when I signed up, but
huge. That'd be huge.
Ryan, how about you, Ryan?
76. I've done it twice on 2 different courses, but
wow.
Yeah, I remember like when I actually used to know how to play golf, I used to get mad if I shot an 85. I thought that was a terrible round of golf because I used to average between like 80 and 83 every round. And then I finally broke 80 for the first time at the golf course. It's like 10 minutes from my house. I shot a 79. And I'm telling you right now, it's the most nerve-wracking final putt that I've ever had, because I had to make my last putt on the 18th hole to finish at 79. And if I missed it, I would have finished bogey and I would have finished at 80. And I had like a 5-footer on a green that has like a nasty break right to left. And if I miss it, there's a chance it rolls another 7 feet down a hill. And yeah,
now you're looking at 81. And now it's like,
yes, yes, dude, exactly. And I remember it's like I was shaking. I had to back off of it the first time I stepped up to it. I had to like calm myself down. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and then I stepped up and I barely caught the lip and it dropped in. I was like, fuck, man. All right, cool. It's the first time I broke 80. And then no shit, like that same golf course, the next time I went and played there, I shot 76. And then I flew back home and I played a golf course with my buddies in Arizona and I shot another 76. So it was like just kind of a trickle effect. It was pretty cool. And then now, oh, shit, man, I'm on like the let's go break 100 challenge.
I mean, that's how the pros probably feel, where each putt is like $1 million or a couple $1 million, where you're like every stroke counts, which is insane.
Yeah. I don't know if any of you guys caught the 3M Open on Sunday, but it was a little refreshing and very sad to watch Scott Piercy, who I didn't watch a ton of the 3M Open, but I was looking at the leaderboard, and Piercy was at like 18 under after round one. Like he was just blowing away the comp. It wasn't round one; it was like round three.
Round three.
He was at like
5 up.
Yeah, he was 5 up going in the last.
He was
round.
at 20. He was at 20, and I think the next closest was like 16, like making the turn or something. And golf got in the way. It was just, and in between his ears, like it was exactly what you look at when you guys and I hit around and we're trying to break 85 or 80 or whatever it is.
Did you see him pulling? Did you see him taking his shoe off because he said he had a blister on his foot? Like he would putt out on like a hole, and then he would pop his shoe off, and he would walk to the next tee box without his shoe on because he had developed a blister on his right foot. And I wonder how much that actually created some of the scenarios where he was like, he had a triple bogey on like the 17th hole or something like that, I think. So I wonder how much of that blister on his foot was actually causing that, or if he was just using as an excuse for the fact that he was playing atrocious.
I thought the NBA was over. I thought it was the off season. Jeez.
I know, right?
I'm a big Celtics fan, and I mean, you see Tatum go down with a little love tap to the shoulder, and you're like, what happened, buddy? You all right? And no, but I'm sure he got injured, but it's just like everybody's just trying to cover something up nowadays. It's just sad sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, be a tough dude, like fight it out, fuck it.
I don't know how much longer you want to record this, but I got one last question for you guys to keep on the recording. And then, like I said, I'll talk to you guys all night long, as you guys want to stay on here.
For sure.
This is the question of all questions. Who is the GOAT?
Who is the GOAT?
The easiest answer in the world.
To you, maybe, because you've had
Brendan. Who's the GOAT?
You've had Pat season tickets.
Are we just talking golf? Or are we talking sports ever?
Just golf. Let me specify. Just golf.
Tiger. Tiger. Not even close. I could have this argument. I have a list. I'll find the list. Hold on 1 second.
While he's looking for that, who's next?
I think you're gonna get Tiger all the way around.
Yeah, Eldrick Taunt Woods.
Nice.
What about you, Ryan?
Same, Tiger.
Yeah.
No, I literally created a list because Will Young, who's one of the Wisconsin guys, who's like he's a PGA professional.
Oh yeah, Will Young.
Yeah, he's friends with Nick, and he's like he's a huge Jack guy too. So I was just like, I made this list and we can't even see it, but I have all of Tiger's accomplishments and like records, and then I have Jack's records, which is like most majors and most second places.
Yeah.
He got so mad.
Yeah.
And I also said most second places, also known as first loser. And
yeah, exactly.
Just like, no.
I think if like I would yes, like I mean, obviously we're 28 to 30, so we didn't get to see, Jack much. Like we didn't get to see Arnie much. Like I'm curious to even like if I grew up in the Bird Jordan era, like if I was living now, who would I say is the best basketball player of all time? Like definitely go Tiger, because he was just so game changing and just drew me to the sport. And just, I mean, I could sit and listen to him talk for hours on whatever he wants to talk about, and I'll listen to every last word. But it would have been fun to I'm curious if I would have thought Jack was the GOAT. If I probably wouldn't have been a huge Jack guy. I don't know. Maybe I would have been. I think I would have gravitated maybe more towards Arnie Palmy.
Well, I think you can't argue if before Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus was the greatest of all time. Like you can't even argue that. You know what I mean?
It's hard to, because it's definitely impossible.
And I think people older than that would have said like Arnold Palmer, and then you know what I mean. But like you get all of those, and then Jack. But my biggest thing, I'll let you continue. I'm sorry, I was about to go off on a tangent. I will not.
No, go ahead.
I don't know. Like I always go back to like there's this 1 year, and I don't know if you would know or not, but it's 2000 Tiger Woods. Where he won
the U.S. Open by 15 strokes and broke a record for the largest victory in a U.S. Open.
Exactly.
Yeah, and he did it at Pebble Beach with the smallest. And he did it at Pebble Beach, where the smallest greens exist on the PGA Tour.
Yep. But with that, he played in 22 events that year.
Yeah.
He won 10. He came in second 9 times. And then he came in second. I think it was, he came in second 4 times. He came in third twice, and he finished in the top 10 3 more times. So out of 22 events, he finished in the top 10 19 times.
Yeah.
And he didn't miss a cut. The other events, he finished tied for 18th, tied for 11th, and tied for 23rd.
There's only 2 statistics that I think anybody should ever pay attention to when it comes to this argument from Tiger Woods. And I don't know if you have them written down on your sheet, but if you don't have a piece of paper, if you don't have a pen in your hand, you might need to write these down. The first one I'm going to give you may have changed slightly only because of the last couple events that Tiger's played in and like missed the cut and like didn't win, obviously. And you guys can fact check me if you want, but the last time that I looked, Tiger Woods' career win percentage was 23%.
Yep, I got that on here.
One for his entire career, my man has won 1 out of every 4 golf tournaments he's ever started. The other statistic that you guys need to take a look at, if you don't have it written down already, is consecutive weeks ranked the world #1 golfer in the world.
That's one of those records that'll never be broken, like Joe DiMaggio's hit streak.
Consecutive weeks at #1.
Cy Young's number of wins in a baseball. It's just one of those records that will never be. Cal Ripken, same thing.
Yeah. So here's one other one that I want to know if you have this on your little list, Brendan.
Yeah, little list.
He's 2 for 2.
There's a 10-year stretch in Tiger Woods' career. If he had a share of the lead or was in the lead, he had a 97% win percentage.
Nope, don't have that one, but that's pretty damn impressive. That's insane. I have, for this one, it's tied for most wins on the PGA Tour with, I think it's Sam Snead or whatever. Most weeks at world #1, most consecutive weeks at world #1, consecutive cuts made, PGA Tour winning percentage, lowest score. Here we go. Lowest score lowest scoring average in a year.
Yeah.
And then I had like fake things that I said, like made the PGA Tour a household sport, inspired generations of golfers, and #1 career earnings of all time. Yeah. And then on Jack, I had most majors and most second places.
Yeah, that's another record that's never going to get broken. The one where you said most consecutive cuts made, that's never no one's ever touching that ever again.
No,
it's such an obnoxiously high number. It's not even funny.
Yeah, one of the TikToks I made last year about it, we were literally talking about it. It was consecutive cuts made. I think Tiger was at, oh God, I forget the actual end number, but it's something like 100 and I think it's 150 or 130 cuts, something like that.
Yeah.
They had the cut streak going for that year in 2021. It was John Rahm, and it was at 13.
Yeah.
And then he promptly missed the cut the next week.
Yeah.
It's just...
Yeah, Tiger Woods is he's the only player in PGA Tour history to hold all 4 major titles at the exact same time.
He did it twice.
Yeah.
Tiger Slam, baby. Love the Tiger Slam. Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll never hear any of us. And I was on the wrong side of history growing up because I was a lefty, so I was a huge Phil fan until I officially came until 2008 did it for me, where it was okay. Like, you can't not say that the dude just won the US Open playing 90 holes, not even 72, playing 90 holes on one leg. Yeah, that's
dude. So here's a super hot take, and it's a perfect segue because you brought up Phil Mickelson. Greatest tragedy to ever happen in the history of golf is Tiger Woods hitting the scene at the same time as Phil Mickelson. If Tiger Woods never played golf, we would be talking about Phil Mickelson the way that we talk about Tiger Woods.
Probably. He was the last amateur to win on the PGA Tour. Like, he was the last amateur to ever win on the PGA Tour. Like, he's got crazy. I think he's 60 wins. Like, he's up there.
He's got like 46
or 46, something like that.
Yeah.
6 majors.
He won the PGA in 2021 at 50 years old. Like, he's won at Augusta 3 times. He doesn't have as many majors, obviously, right? But that's why I say, like, if Tiger Woods didn't exist, people would be talking about Phil Mickelson in the same respect that we talk about Tiger Woods, in my opinion.
Yeah, he did this all during the GOAT.
Yeah. So you want to look up how look how many second place finishes Phil Mickelson. No, just kidding.
A lot. Probably second place in most second place finishes after Jack Nicklaus. Like,
yeah. I can't believe we haven't even talked about Live Golf, man.
I know.
I was gonna ask you, what's your take? That's pretty broad.
Yeah. No, that's fair though. It's fair.
I mean, there's so much. Someone asked me that. Actually, that I got kind of triggered at. Not even triggered, just like
U.S. Open week.
Lucas at the beach, we were in the water, we were talking golf. He's like, so what are your thoughts on Live Golf? I was like, kind of a little drunk, maybe like a little, just like, I mean, do I want to get into this? Like, I could go on, but where do I start? And then like, once I started talking, like I just hammered a couple bullet points. We started talking about it. It was nice. But like that initial, like, now, all right, where do I want to start with this? is like,
I think the best way that I can answer this question, and again, this might be a unique answer. I think the most entertaining thing so far about Live Golf is how incredibly intense every fan of golf is, one way or the other. Why can't it just exist at the same time? The whole point of Live Golf was to give guys on the PGA Tour the ability to play on the PGA Tour all year round and mix in like 6 or 7 events throughout the year where they could just go play an invitational event and bank a shit ton of money real quick and then come back and still play on the PGA Tour. But the PGA Tour and the media have turned this into this massive, like, them versus us. And all of the fans of golf that I've seen to this point have just played into it. Like we're just being played by a puppeteer and we're just a bunch of marionettes. It's like Team America, World Police right now. I just don't understand. Like, you have people that are like, yes, Live Golf, fuck the PGA. And then you have people that are like, PGA, F Live Golf, like, screw Greg Norman, and I'll never watch Dustin Johnson ever again, and how dare Phil Mickelson leave, and who cares about all these other guys? And it's like, bro, they're just athletes playing golf, man. Like, what do we really, like, why do we really care? If you get to watch them play golf, if you don't get to watch them play golf, like, they're just dudes trying to play golf and make money. Like, why is this gotta be such a big deal? It'd be like, imagine if like 2 years from now, everyone's telling you, here's 4 topics that you can't talk about on a first date. Don't bring up religion. Don't bring up politics. Don't bring up Live Golf. You know what I mean? Like,
I hear what you're saying. Definitely. I just, like, obviously, like, there were rules in place before Live Golf came about, and players chose to take the money over, you know, staying true to whatever roots on the PGA Tour they had. So they understand, like, that violation or whatever, and maybe they think they're going to win in court, and, you know, but like now the fact that they want to be able to do so many things, like if you're on Live Golf, like, and someone says like you can't come back, like, obviously, like, that rules are rules, like they were in place before Live Golf was around. I certainly don't hate the notion to, like, open it up and be like that's what it was founded for. Let them play 6-7 events and bounce around, like, but they kind of knew that wasn't the, like, stipulations before signing that Live contract. So I just think, to, like, Rory and Rahm's sentiments, I've listened to, like, a little bit of what they say about it, and like I do, and Tiger, he, like, the legacy, the history, like, you're playing for tournaments that, like, Jack's place, like, not even just the majors, like the, you know, different events that mean something, that, and obviously everything's got to trickle, and there's always got to be growth, and, like, Live's going to develop its own history and tradition and whatnot. But I just like having your cake, eating it too, being able to, like, just try and, I don't know, just
here's my
break up. They're breaking up. Go on, Ryan.
Here's my serious take on it. The PGA Tour is a nonprofit organization. They're allowed to run their organization however they see fit. Like you said, they have rules in place. If a player on the PGA Tour wants to play in any event on a separate tour other than the PGA Tour, they have to have written permission from the PGA Tour in order to be released to play that and not lose their status on the PGA Tour. I'm perfectly okay with that. That's the rules that's in place. And I'm totally okay with the PGA Tour of holding up their end of that bargain and like, what am I trying to say? Enforcing that, right? I also agree that like these guys know that going into it. So if they make the decision to leave, they make the decision to leave. My take on it though is, imagine if I asked you what type of driver you use, and you said TaylorMade, and then I asked Tim what kind of driver he uses, and he says Callaway, and I said I can never talk to Tim ever again for the rest of my life because he uses a Callaway driver. That's the thing that like blows my mind, is how we've got all these fans of golf that are just drawing lines in the sand. Like these are the most evil people on the planet because they left the PGA Tour. Like, who fucking cares, man? Like, let them they made a decision. And honestly, the one thing that's been disappointing about this whole thing is I really wish, just like a bunch of other people, I really wish that these guys would just say, I took the money. Like, you didn't leave the PGA Tour and sign a $200 million contract with Live Golf for any other reason other than to make $200 million.
Yeah.
So just say, I wanted 200 mil.
Yeah. Especially when they've said 3, 4, like 5 months ago that like they were dismissing it. They were talking shit about it. They were saying how someone's going to do it. And then they did it themselves. And you have Henrik Stenson, like Ryder Cup, like signed a contract, committed to an obligation that means so much to these guys. And like, yeah, is the R&A wrong? Like, should it be an open forum? Like, should we let people do whatever they want and bounce from Live to the Ryder? Who knows? And that would be nice. But like, you have someone who's an opposing threat who really probably isn't trying to work with you to grow the game. They're trying to put you like in the hole. You got to try and fend for your product, but it's just sad to see people say things have meant so much to them, and now they just backtrack on their word, and they end up signing for more money, where again, your great grandkid are going to have hundreds of millions of dollars. Great. Like, is that good for your great grandkid? Is it good for anyone? Like, I don't know. Like, it's obviously money's money, but like I just love the integrity behind these sports, the competition, like the legacy, that like what makes a great golfer great, like winning majors. Like, I understand if people want to go to Live to like make a lot and settle down their career and not like take it seriously, like that makes total sense. But like if you're in your prime of your career, I wouldn't want to jeopardize not being able to play in a major next year, because I just think the majors to me mean more than the world. And like, I'm sitting in a house in East Providence trying to pay a mortgage, and I hopefully would do the same thing if they were going to offer me millions of dollars. Like, hopefully I'm a man of my word, but maybe I'm like, I've never had that much money thrown in my face, so I can sit here and say these things, but I don't know what that looks like, and if that was ever to come to fruition, what I would do. But I am like rooted in the like the history, the legacy, the like why the sport was created, like for the good of the game. So
we also don't know
either for the positive.
Yeah, I agree. And we also don't know either too, like when those guys were putting those statements out there, like, I'm committed to the PGA Tour, maybe that week Live Golf was like, we'll give you $10 million to come play. And that player was like, nah, man, it's not enough money. I'm committed to the PGA Tour. And then the next week, Live Golf was like, I'll give you $200 million to come play.
Right.
And they're like, oh yeah, where do I sign, bro? And then now it's like, I got to put a statement out. It's like, well, after a lot of thought and consideration, I got to do what's right for my family. At the same time, you could just say, last week they didn't offer me enough money to leave. This week they are, so I'm taking the money.
Right.
Completely agree. Tim and Brian, do you guys want to give your thoughts before I do my almost weekly Live Golf rant that is now coming around?
I'm personally all set.
I'll be Switzerland.
I haven't been offered
today.
enough money, so I'll let Tim talk.
I'll be Switzerland this morning or this afternoon, this evening. Brendan, go ahead.
Oh, and
real quick, let me get one more thing in real quick. I love the irony of the whole situation too. The only reason that the PGA Tour exists is because Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer were unhappy that television rights were coming into golf, and they were professional golfers, and the PGA of America wanted all of that money to go into their pocket. But Jack and Arnold and guys like Lee Trevino, they all wanted a bigger piece of that money to come into their pockets as players, because they were like, we're the only reason that you guys are getting these TV rights. So they broke away from the PGA of America and they started the PGA Tour on their own. And now what do we have? We have players on the PGA Tour that want to make more money. The PGA Tour is not allowing them to make more money. And so they're leaving to go do something different to make more money. It is the exact same thing that the one and the two, the number one and the number two people in the history of golf that people revere and honor and look up to more than anybody else, Jack and Arnie, did the exact same thing in the 60s. And all of a sudden, because we're doing it in 2022, it's the worst thing to ever happen to golf. You did it yourself, my guy.
Valid points. Very, very valid points. I have always said that, and I always say this before I start my rant. If Live Golf ever decided to buy the Duffin Up podcast, we would have sold out immediately, and we will sell 100%. Immediately.
Yeah, like 1,000%.
We are
on Tim.
Saudi Arabia. We're taking the money and running.
Yeah,
I'm out, Bren.
You're not running, then you don't get. Then we'll divide it in 3 instead of 4. Jesus.
All right, wait, hold up.
Yeah.
Not
only would I take the money for the Tee It High podcast, but I would put an addendum in the contract that said they had to pay me consulting fees for the rest of the life of the podcast.
That's hilarious. I have always stated that I understand why players decide to leave. I think it is 100% the player's right to leave. And I think they made their decision. I don't blame them. I think they're perfectly okay with making that decision. I do think that Greg Norman does not have, and we talked about it last week, Greg Norman may or may not have the best interests in the sport. He may just want to get back at the PGA Tour for what they did to the World Golf Tour back in the early 90s. And just like I said last week, Greg, you're not wrong. You're just an asshole in the situation. It didn't, especially after they got Henrik Stenson. I'm like, what does Henrik Stenson bring to Live Golf? He has literally come out and said that he is like washed, like that he is a washed player, that he can't play anymore, that he can't play at a high level anymore. Pat Perez said the same thing. Graham McDowell said the same thing. All those guys are like, yeah, this is like basically my retirement fund. I'm like, good for you guys. With that side, I say, okay, you made your decision. You don't get to come back. Like, you don't get to come back now. Like, it's like with the Taylor Gooch stuff when he was like, oh yeah, this is, I've never played in a Ryder Cup or a President's Cup, but I can imagine this is just as good. And I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Shut your mouth. Again, you made your decisions. I totally get that. I think by 2024, with like the new format that they just laid out this week, like they might be able to apply for OWGR points then, which is good for them, and they'll probably get them. It'll probably be like significantly less than the European Tour or the PGA Tour, just because it's only 54 holes, which I do think is a difference. And there's no cuts, which is a difference. And, I heard a lot of people saying how much fun, like, the players were having out there. Like, Tom Brady didn't have fun when he was playing football. Like, Michael Jordan wasn't having fun when he was playing in close games in basketball. Like, they wanted to win. And then when they won, it was fun. Like, you know what I mean? So like, there is a competitive side to it. I still think it is competitive. I mean, like, heck, Henny Duplessis changed his life by finishing in second place in the first event and won $2.5 million. For a guy like that, that's great. But like, I don't see as of right now the exact purpose for Live Golf growing the game, because I don't think it grows the game. I think it's just kind of I'm fine with the golfers going, but like, don't sue the PGA Tour to try and get back on tour. Like, no, you made your decision. Like, you're on Live. That's great for you. You made bank. Your kids never have to worry about money. Your kids never have to worry about money. But like, no, you can't come and play like the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Like, you can't come and play the Memorial. Like, you can't come and play in the FedEx Cup playoffs. Like, you made your decision, live with it, and that's fine. I'm good with that. guys like Dustin Johnson and Kevin Na and a bunch of them are like, yeah, like we did that. We're good. Like, we're never going to play in the Ryder Cup again. We're never going to play in President's Cup. We're never going to play on the PGA Tour again. Like, we made our decision. We're fine with that. Some of those guys won majors. The other guys who went and don't have the exemptions and can't qualify because they're not playing on a tour that has OWGR points. Like, you should have thought about that before you joined that. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. What do you guys think about this argument, though? To play on the PGA Tour Champions, you have to be 50 years old at a minimum.
Yep.
Every week that there's a PGA Tour event, you could have up to 175 guys playing in that event. Okay. Mm-hmm. These guys that are all switching over to live, that are all outside their prime, call it washed up, call it whatever you want, right? A lot of these guys that are switching over there are freeing up space on the PGA Tour for the younger generation that wants a chance to get on tour, but they never had the chance because the Henrik Stensons of the world were just sticking around until they turned 50 and they could go on the Champions Tour, and they were just taking up space and they were blocking these guys from being able to progress their career. But now that these lower ranked guys that mean nothing to winning tournaments anymore are out of the way, it's going to open opportunities for younger guys to get on tour that would have had to wait a lot longer. It's like the old saying, if you work in a company and the only way for you to move up is if the guy above you dies, retires, or gets fired, you know what I mean? And you're just sitting here waiting for your promotion. Well, now the guy that either needs to die, retire, or gets fired basically is retiring and taking a pension package, if you want to look at it that way. And now you've got multiple spots that are going to open up underneath him. I'm not saying that those guys are leaving the PGA Tour with that thought in their mind. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they're taking that into consideration whatsoever. But I think that's an aspect of growing the game, is that it's eliminating them off the PGA Tour so that other people can come up underneath them.
Yeah, definitely. But not.
But they're not making that decision with that thought in mind.
Right. And Liv isn't paying them a boatload for that reason, but it's just a kind of like
it's a result
of that, which I think ultimately, go on, Brendan. I think there are ways in which this could grow the game if it was to work out, but
I think Ernie Els, they did an interview with Ernie Els, and I thought he was really good at it. He said this should have been something that now the PGA Tour is going to do in the what they call like the silly season. So like between between the end of the FedEx Cup and into and from from September to January is basically like where all those weird events are, like when you have like the CJ Cup and when you have like the HSBC and you got like those big money smaller fields. He was like they should have worked together to do it during that time, and it should have been merit based, and it should have been this, and 54 holes would have been fine, and they wouldn't have earned FedEx Cup and they wouldn't have earned points. But that's okay because no one's earning points during that time because it's all small fields and it doesn't really matter. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, damn, Ernie Els is right. And then he pulled a Tiger and was like, to the 22-year-olds that are going over, like, you're you don't realize what you're doing until he was like, you don't realize what you did until it's too late. And the guys who are going over that are 22 and they're taking the money now, they're not realizing like, yeah, I'm getting this big chunk, but like, I'm never going to be able to play. Like, I'm most likely never going to be able to play in majors. I'm never going to be able to play on some of the bigger, like the players definitely won't let them in.
Right.
PGA of America for the PGA Championship, probably in lockstep with the PGA Tour on that, and probably won't let them in.
Yeah.
Masters, no shot. You know, the RNA basically wanted to ban the live players this year, but they couldn't. And the U.S. Open, I think, is the most open to them playing, but they're going to have to go through U.S. Open qualifying, which is
I think the U.S. Open. I think the only reason that the U.S. Open let those guys do it this year is because the majority of the guys that switched over already had exemptions in this year.
Yep.
But I think next year you're going to see them take a different stance. And it was so close to the U.S. Open; they were in a really tough spot.
It was a month.
So I think next year you're going to see them take a different stance.
Yeah.
And I also want to know, I'm curious what you guys think about this too. I think that the strategy of Live Golf is to get these random ass golfers that are like the number 180th ranked person in the world or the 1300th ranked player in the world, to get them to come over, play 3 days of golf, make $900,000 by shooting an 80 on the last day, right? Like Pat Perez did. And then you get these high level golfers like your Justin Thomases and your Rory McIlroys that are sitting here like, what the F, man? Like, that dude just shot an 80 and he's making $1 million. Like, I could go shoot an 80 with one arm tied behind my back right now. And then they're hoping that that's going to draw the bigger name guys out.
I mean, they're talking about $100 million to Cameron Smith, $200 million to Hideki, and like Srixon moving over and becoming the official club brand. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on with it right now. And that's the part that scares me, is exactly what you just said. Because sooner or later, that is going to hit a breaking point where a kid, I know me and you were going back and forth in the DMs about like Cam Young, for example, like what a great pick that was for the Open. Cam Young made, I think it was 900, or sorry, no, he made $1.2 million as the second place finisher at the Open Championship.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think it was like the 5th place guy made $1 million at, and it was like the 10th place guy made $900K. Like, it was nuts how much money.
But jeopardizing leaving to not play at St. Andrews in 6 years time from now, like, and a lot of these young kids, like, I love listening to Tiger like speak on it before his Thursday round. I think it was Wednesday or Tuesday, whenever media day was, about like how he had to earn it in the dirt. And he was talking about these young kids coming out of college, just going right to Live Golf. And he didn't make the point. I think like Brando Chambly was saying, like, again, you can get that guaranteed money in basketball and golf, like, but the difference is, like, you pay someone $100 million guaranteed in golf or in basketball, like, you can still bench them, like, if they suck. Like, in golf, like, there's no incentive to put your best self out there, earn it in the dirt, fucking grind like Tiger did. Like, Tiger moved the needle back then and made highest career earnings, like you said, Brendan. But
yeah,
it's because he had to work to get there. And now he's grown golf so much that people are just throwing $6 billion in reserves at these golfers to come over and play 8 times a year in 54 hole no cut events. Like, it is what it is. But I don't know. I think golf is probably going that guaranteed money way, but it hurts the product a little bit for sure.
And it is silly golf. Like, if you watch it, the product's fine. Like, I think it's fine, but like, it's silly. Like, it is silly. It's weird. Like, it's fun. It's entertaining, but it's not like, I think we all, I mean, maybe not we all, but I think like one of the best parts about watching like tournaments is the fact that like the guys are so dialed in and that they want to beat each other. Whereas like at Live, it felt just like if you were like truly like, it felt like half the guys didn't care. Like,
I think this honeymoon, I think this honeymoon phase will,
at all.
Yeah, I think it's refreshing because it's like once every couple of weeks. So like, and it's a honeymoon phase here where they're just, and obviously they're getting paid out the ass, but like eventually it's going to die down where it's like, it's just another week on Live. And it's like, all right, I think they need to like do away with the fucking team aspect. Like they get asked questions by the media about like, oh, your team's in this, like how you were watching your teammate there, or did you see your teammate here do this, or like your team's coming in at this, not like, they're not thinking about the fucking team. Like, all they care about is their own score. Like, I mean, they might hang out with their team a little more, but like, they don't really care about the team in Live Golf. Don't try and fool me.
I mean, maybe they might, because in order to get more money, your team has to do well.
Yeah,
I think that's like where they're trying to draw the incentive, I think, in that whole format. But I like what Brendan said about watching like normal PGA Tour events and you see like everybody's dialed in. But the thing that I argue against that, and again, I want you guys to understand, I love the PGA Tour. If I had an opportunity to play professional golf 100%, I would play on the PGA Tour. I could confidently tell you that like if I had the opportunity to play competitive golf on the PGA Tour, my mindset would be winning tournaments and trying to play in majors. Right. And if I had to give that up to chase a bag, I would go tell Liv to fuck off, and I wouldn't take the money. I don't care how much they offered me.
Exactly.
Because my mindset would be in that realm, right? But for the guys that don't think about it that way, and they're like, well, I don't really care about majors, I just want to make money. Like, I get that too. But look at the actual numbers. Like, when you watch a PGA Tour broadcast, it looks like everybody's dialed in on the golf course, because the broadcast is only showing you like maybe 10 dudes that are playing golf. There's 175 guys that started that tournament, and you get to watch 10 of them. Yeah. So it makes the product look like it's fantastic, and everyone on the PGA Tour is so fucking good. But when was the last time that you went down and you looked at the cut list and there's guys that are 18 over par for 2 days?
If you watch the 3M Open, they couldn't show 10 guys that are worth showing. They showed guys, I mean, those guys, no-namers.
Right. And then on top of that, I did the numbers on the Portland Live tournament. I did statistics on it, and I looked at one round of golf. They had, what do they have? 4 team. They have 12 teams of 4. So they've got 48 guys playing, right? Yep. I counted how many people were under par, and it was like 29% of the players on the golf course were under par. And then I switched over to the PGA Tour event that was happening at the exact same time. And there's 150 guys that are playing. And like 32% of the guys that were playing in the PGA Tour event were under par. So it's like, everybody wants to talk about how shitty the golf is over on Live, and these guys all suck. But when you look at it from a statistic standpoint, and you look at the percentage of guys that are actually playing well on both of them, it's almost the same. It's just that the PGA Tour doesn't show you the guy that's shooting a quadruple bogey and he's 17 shots off the lead. You just don't see that on TV, so you don't know about it.
To be fair, I wish they would. That'd bring a nice little semblance.
It would. How many more people would be able to relate to that?
Exactly. No, I completely agree. Oh, that would be.
And every single cut line, I don't know the exact percentage, but I think if you look at the majority of people that play in these tournaments on the PGA Tour, and then you look at the cut line, it's really only narrowing it down to like 30% of the original field.
Yeah, it's top 65 in ties now. So they did away with top 70. They do top 65 in ties now.
Right. So if you had 180 people start out a tournament,
less than 50%.
You're only taking 33% of the guys that even started.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So again, you're still breaking it down to like
around the same. Yeah. I feel you on that.
Anyway.
No, I agree. I think that
Go Live.
We can all agree too.
You don't get relegated if you're a bottom 4 Live player, because where would you go?
Hey, you might have to go. To the Asia Tour.
Yeah, the Asian Tour, which would be brutal. Oh, those guys don't get paid anything. I want to talk about a tour that doesn't get paid anything. That'd be brutal. All right, Ryan. Well, thank you so much, dude. I know we've kept you far longer than expected. But again, everyone, please go listen to the Tee It High podcast. Please go check out amazing charity New to You. Almost said Now to You again. Oh my God, that would have been embarrassing.
I saw you looking at the same notes that messed you up before. Yeah,
I know, right?
I had to chime in.
Seriously, I would have been brutal. But Ryan, thank you so much for joining us tonight, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys so much, man. I had a blast. It was awesome.
Thanks, Ryan.
Great.
Ryan,